Chapter 6:18. A large group of girls had gathered together. The three Guni sisters, the two Yujito, Tion, Sakura, and Tsunade were all there. At first, everyone was teasing Hinata for fun. Later, they went to participate in the celebration. After that, they drank together. After getting drunk, Guni hugged Naruto tightly and complained that Hinata had secretly made a move on Naruto. "Hinata, why don't you give me half of Naruto? If you give me half, I'll forgive you." Hinata was also drunk. She hugged Naruto and pulled Naruto away from Guni's arms. "No, Naruto-kun belongs to me alone. No one can take him away from me." The only one who didn't drink too much was Naruto. It wasn't that he didn't drink enough. It was because he used chakra to dissolve the alcohol. Otherwise, Naruto was afraid that he would accidentally screw up when he was with so many girls. When Guni saw that Naruto was being pulled away, he unhappily scolded Hinata. "Stingy. Then you better watch carefully. Don't let me seduce your boyfriend away." The drunk Hinata was very cute. She hugged Naruto and said, "No way. Naruto is my dog. He won't go with you." Naruto was confused. "Dog? What the hell?" The girls continued to talk nonsense. The two Yujito also joined in. "Count me in. I want to seduce little Naruto too. Hinata, you better watch carefully." Hinata hugged Naruto tightly and said cutely, "You can't take my dog away from me." Hinata glared at Guni and the two Yujito, then looked at Tion and said cautiously, "What are you looking at? Are you going to take my dog away too?" Tion waved his hand in a daze and said, "I don't care. I like Ningji. Although Ningji isn't as handsome as you, Naruto, he's not a playboy, unlike your dog." "He's a playboy." Hinata defended Naruto and said, "No, my dog only likes me." Then she said to Naruto, "Am I right? Dog, say something." Naruto wanted to bang his head against the wall. What was wrong with these girls? Did they become arrogant after drinking a little? She actually called him a dog. This was really... Hinata was still acting coquettishly. "Doggy, don't you think so?" Naruto rolled his eyes. "I'm a wolf." Hinata pouted. "No, you're my dog." What else could Naruto say? He opened his mouth and barked, "Woof." This made Hinata very happy. "Look, my dog only likes me." Hinata became a chatterbox after getting drunk. She said to Sakura Haruno, "You can't have any ideas about my dog." Sakura Haruno slowly rolled her eyes and replied, "My cat is much cuter than your dog." Cat. Could it be that she was talking about Sasuke? Did girls always use animals as metaphors when they talked about their boyfriends? Boys also seemed to say that girls were stupid pigs. Could it be revenge? Naruto felt that it seemed to make sense. After the girls were drunk, Naruto sent everyone back to their rooms with his doppelganger. His real body carried Hinata back to the room. After returning to the room, Hinata hung on Naruto like an octopus. "Big dog, you won't be seduced by that bad girl Guenai, right?" Naruto pinched Hinata's face and said, "That depends on whether you are obedient or not." Hinata quickly replied, "I am very obedient. Dog, don't seduce others." Obedient? How was she obedient? She did not even let him hug her during the day and avoided kisses. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the drunk Hinata and said, "You are obedient? Then kiss me." The drunk Hinata did not hesitate and kissed Naruto's face. Naruto's little heart was beating wildly from the kiss. He pointed to his lips and said, "Kiss here." Hinata was very obedient and kissed him again. She was really obedient. Then, Naruto looked at Hinata with a smirk and said, "Then you, take off your clothes and sleep with me." Hinata took off her clothes in a daze. Then she got under the quilt. She lifted a corner of the quilt and said drunkenly, "Come on, come in." Naruto's nose was hot and blood flowed directly to his face. It was really too exciting. Naruto cast a healing spell on himself and got under the quilt after his nose was healed. However, he found that Hinata had fallen asleep under the quilt. Should he wake the little girl up? Hinata was very cute in her sleep. Her eyelashes moved as her eyes moved. Hinata was dreaming. Then she smacked her lips as if she had eaten something delicious. She was really too cute. Naruto took a deep breath and went to the toilet to calm down. He really could not bear to disturb this girl's sleep. There was still a long way to go. There would be plenty of opportunities to have children in the future. In the end, Naruto went to sleep on the sofa. Not long after Naruto lay down on the sofa, Hinata opened her eyes. Although her eyes were drunk, it could be seen that she was still very sober. Hinata's drink was dissolved by Tsunade. Before Naruto carried Hinata back to the room. Spiritual network. Tsunade asked, "How is it? What's the situation?" Hinata was still a little drunk and replied in a daze, "Nothing happened. Naruto is sleeping on the sofa." After hearing this, Tsunade praised, "As expected of my apprentice, you're still very good." Hinata yawned, got up from the bed in a daze, and staggered towards Naruto. Then she directly hit Naruto's body, like a big octopus, and wrapped around Naruto's body. She cutely muttered, "Where Naruto-kun sleeps, Hinata sleeps there." Naruto was awakened by Hinata's pressure, and he didn't know whether to laugh or cry at the magical creature wrapped around his body. "You delivered yourself to my doorstep." Hinata didn't reply and fell asleep. Although the sofa was very big, it was still very crowded for two adults. Naruto picked up Hinata and carried her to the bed again. And then, Naruto couldn't sleep. It wasn't until the next morning that he was awakened by a slap. The hot slap sent Naruto flying directly from the bed. Rogue. Naruto woke up and looked at the violent person on the bed with an innocent face. "You want to murder your husband so early in the morning?" Hinata covered herself tightly with the quilt. "Naruto-kun, rogue. Naruto-kun took off my clothes while I was drinking." Suddenly, Naruto felt that his slap was wronged. If he had known earlier, he would have done something yesterday. "Who took off your clothes?" "You took off your clothes yourself." Then, Naruto sent the video record of last night. "Last night, you either called me Doggy or Big Doggy. Is this the nickname you gave me?" Hinata finished watching the video record as fast as she could. Her face was as red as a hot soldering iron, completely red. She said guiltily, "You rogue, you actually asked me to take off my clothes when I was drunk." Naruto asked back, "Of course I took off my clothes to sleep. Do you always sleep with your clothes on? What the hell is going on? You were the one who seduced me last night." Hinata's eyes widened. Naruto continued, "And I went to sleep on the sofa. You didn't sleep on the bed, but came to the sofa to disturb my sleep. When I sent you back to bed, you held my hand and didn't let go. I couldn't sleep all night." Hinata was so embarrassed that she wanted to find a hole to hide in. She covered herself with the quilt and said, "I don't care. I drank too much last night. I want to set the rules with you. You have to listen. If you don't listen, I won't talk to you anymore." "Set the rules again? Let's hear it." Hinata raised 3 fingers. "First, without my permission, you can't do anything to me that I don't want to." Naruto nodded. "Second, keep the second and third." Naruto nodded again. "Okay, but you have to promise me one thing." Hinata looked at Naruto carefully. "What?" Naruto looked at Hinata and smiled. "In the future, without my presence, you are not allowed to drink. Your alcohol tolerance is too bad." Chapter 619. Am I not good at drinking? Hinata pointed at herself and asked Naruto suspiciously. Naruto nodded seriously. Hinata wanted to refute, but when she thought of the video Naruto sent her just now, she could only pout. She could only pout and say, "All right then, I promise you." "I've already agreed to your request. You have to agree to mine too." Naruto played dumb and said, "What do you want me to agree to?" Hinata repeated seriously, "Without my permission, you can't do anything to me that I don't want to do." Naruto raised his eyebrows and hesitated with a reluctant look. Hinata looked at Naruto seriously and waited for an answer. Then Naruto kissed Hinata's face. Hinata was embarrassed. Naruto-kun, you didn't keep your promise. Naruto hugged Hinata and said with a wronged expression, I didn't break my promise. I haven't promised you yet. With that, he kissed her again. He kissed her again. Hinata covered Naruto's hand tightly with her hand. Naruto's mouth was pressed, and he said incoherently, Let me kiss you again. I'm afraid that when I agree to come with you, I won't be able to kiss you if you don't let me kiss you. So I want to kiss you as much as I want. Hinata was so angry. She pressed Naruto's mouth tightly, but suddenly, there was a hand behind her back combing her hair. Hinata, your hair smells so good. It was Naruto's voice. She turned around and saw Naruto's clone. Then at the moment she looked at Naruto's clone leaned down and kissed her on the cheek. There was no way to stop it. Naruto-kun, I'm really going to ignore you if you do this. Bang! The doppelganger was knocked out of the way. Naruto continued hugging Hinata. Just one kiss. Let me kiss you again, and I'll agree to your condition. Hinata was conflicted. She wanted to firmly refuse, but, looking at Naruto's expectant look, she didn't want to. She didn't want to be rejected. Should she agree? Anyway, it was the last kiss, right? Hinata Bunguruo replied softly, then, okay, but I can only let you kiss me once. Hinata's hand was still pressing Naruto's mouth. Naruto reminded him. Then let go of my mouth. Naruto stretched out his tongue and licked Hinata's palm. Itchy, Hinata retracted her hand as fast as she could. Pervert. Hinata's face was red. Naruto looked at Hinata affectionately. I'm only perverted in front of you. Naruto's face moved closer. Feeling Naruto's breath, Hinata closed her eyes shyly. She repeatedly reminded herself in her heart that it was just one kiss. However, after Hinata closed her eyes, she didn't feel Naruto kiss her for a long time. Hinata couldn't help but open her eyes again. She saw Naruto looking at her with a smile. You teased me again? Hinata didn't dare to look at Naruto's eyes. She lowered her head and looked at Naruto's chest. Naruto replied, Why would I? I just thought that I can only kiss you once. I can't kiss you casually in the future, so I can't bear to kiss you. So, I've decided to leave this kiss for the future. Okay. Naruto's voice made Hinata's heart melt. Her heart was beating wildly. Did Naruto-kun really like to kiss her? For some reason, Hinata felt proud of herself. Okay then. Hinata's voice was as soft as a mosquito. Naruto hugged Hinata in his arms. Let me hug you for a while, okay? Hinata's body slightly stiffened, then softened. She carefully leaned her head on Naruto's chest. Since it was Naruto's request, she couldn't refuse. Okay then. Naruto hugged for a long time. Feeling each other's existence, it was really a beautiful feeling. It was very fulfilling. It felt like he wasn't hugging a person, but a whole world. But at the wrong time, there would always be some annoying guy who would disturb them. System prompt, Obito requests a call. For a moment, Naruto wanted to blacklist Obito. He connected. What's the matter? If it's not a big matter, I'll cripple you. Obito replied, Didn't we agree to seal the Hachibi today? Sealing the Hachibi is indeed a big matter. But Naruto really didn't want to let go of Hinata. Obito continued to report, also, there's news from the Lightning Country. Raikage found that the Hachibi human pillar force is missing and is mobilizing the entire Lightning Country to look for the Hachibi human pillar force. The Earth Country is also in the search range. So it's like that. Okay, I'll go back right away. Summon the Gedo Mozo and wait for me. He hung up the call with Obito. Naruto closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Naruto's body smelled very good. It felt like a breath can calm the mind and nourish the brain. Feeling the change in Naruto, Hinata asked in a low voice, What's the matter? Naruto continued to hug Hinata and replied, "Well, today I'm going to seal the Hachibi." Hinata raised her head and looked at Naruto. "Then go, don't delay the business." Naruto stroked Hinata's back. Hinata is a chubby girl, so it feels good to the touch. Her whole body is soft. I haven't hugged enough. Hinata was a little shy. "Then I'll let you hug me again when you come back." Hearing this sentence, Naruto's heart trembled. He really wanted to do Hinata on the spot. "I can't hug her anymore." Naruto took the initiative to let go. "Kiss me and I'll go. This doesn't count as that one chance, okay?" Hinata felt her face was hot. Looking at Naruto, she bit her lip. Then she tiptoed and gently, like a chicken pecking rice, kissed Naruto's cheek. "Well, it's a reward for you, you can go." Naruto's heart suddenly felt very happy. It feels good to be loved by someone. Thinking about the days when he was single and thinking about the present, the past was really tragic. "Then I'll come back when I'm done. Wait for me at home." Hinata nodded gently. Naruto hugged Hinata and whispered in Hinata's ear, "Will you live in my room in the future? I'll add another bed. I'll never cross the line before marriage, okay? In the future." Live in Naruto's room. Feeling Naruto's embrace, Hinata felt that she was about to be melted by Naruto. "Should I agree?" Naruto's request. But Tsunade-sama said that I can't let men get it easily, otherwise they won't cherish it. If I agree, will I be violating Tsunade-sama's words? Will Naruto not cherish me in the future? Why aren't you talking? Isn't this request too abrupt? It's okay, you can think about it slowly. I won't force you. I just want to live with you, so I'll have a home. A home. Is this what Naruto-kun wants? Hearing this sentence, Hinata's heart suddenly ached for no reason. For a long time, Naruto gave her the feeling that no matter where he went, he was always alone. When they were in Woodleaf, it was. Later, when they left, Naruto had more people around him, but Naruto still gave her the feeling of a lonely back. No matter how many people Naruto knew, that feeling never dissipated. Chapter 620. The teleportation formation was activated, and a beam of light rose. Naruto smiled and waved at Hinata. At this time, Hinata finally recovered and replied, "I'll wait for you to come back." Boom! Light filled the air, and Naruto disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already in the Akatsuki's underground base. In the huge pit of the Earth Country, beside Haiden. Ding! The calm space distorted again, and Naruto destroyed the traces of teleportation. Then he teleported to his room again. Unfortunately, he saw White Zetsu in his room. "Huh? Why are you in my room? What's the matter?" When White Zetsu saw Naruto, he hesitated for a moment, and his pupils suddenly dilated, and a trace of fear flashed in his eyes. These were very subtle changes that ordinary ninjas couldn't notice, but they were all captured by the perception enchantment. "There's a problem. There's something, you can talk to my main body, I'll go first." After saying that, White Zetsu's body disappeared underground, and his aura disappeared. Naruto glanced at the place where White Zetsu disappeared, and his fingers moved the Akatsuki's ring, and the corners of his mouth rose. He smiled helplessly. "Zetsu, I can't wait anymore." Obito sent a communication request, and Naruto made a seal with one hand. The next moment, Naruto's consciousness appeared on the finger of the Gedo Mazo. The left little finger of the Gedo Mazo, where the word void was. "Zetsu, did your clone just say you're looking for me?" Naruto asked Zetsu. On the Gedo Mazo, except for Obito's projection, the others were projections of the colorful chakra. Zetsu replied, "There's something, but there's no hurry, let's talk about it after sealing the Hachibi." While talking, several others also came online. Haiden and Sasori were in the Snow Country. In fact, Naruto could also log in from the Snow Country, but sealing the Hachibi was a big deal after all. In order to prevent someone from finding the Akatsuki's base in the Earth Country and disturbing the seal, if Naruto's main body was there, he could respond in time. This was one of the reasons, and the second was to give Zetsu the illusion that he had always been living in the Akatsuki. It's just that, from White Zetsu's point, this was not far from being exposed. Get ready, the seal is about to begin. Obito took the unconscious Hachibi human pillar force from Kamui space and put it at the foot of the Gedo Mazo. Then, it returned to its original position and formed a seal. Release. The mouth on the Gedo Mazo's mouth slit fell as his mouth. Obito's hand seals changed. Illusory Dragon 9 seals. Under the control of Obito, 9 chakra dragons rushed out of the Gedo Mazo's mouth and bit Killer Bee. A huge tentacled was pulled out. The Ro roared. Naruto. Spiritual chakra S. Zetsu's S. The scene in front of Naruto changed from Gedo Mazo to Hachibi's sealed space. 9 tails. Human pillar force. It's not too late to stop now. I know you need to obtain more power first, but the power of the 10-tailed beast is not something you can possess. Naruto looked at Ghost Ox calmly. There was a trace of pity in his eyes. Do you know why there are 9-tailed beasts? The sudden question stunned the Hachibi. She replied, We were created by the sage of the 6 paths. How would I know? Naruto's spirit body was golden all over, like a god. Prayer beads were wrapped around his left hand. There was also a long saber floating behind him. Naruto said, I didn't know this question in the past, but as I used the Death God's edge more and more, I gradually understood. Humans have 3 souls and 7 spirits. The 9 of you are one of them. You are the souls of Kagaya Otsutsuki. Ox Ghost stared at Naruto. Nonsense. 3 souls and 7 spirits added together equal to 9? Are you kidding me? Naruto said expressionlessly, Ju. With Ju, the 10 are complete. You don't know Ju, right? He's standing on the Gedo Golem. Sense it carefully. Is there any familiar aura on him? Ox Ghost frowned and said impatiently, I only feel the aura of disgust. Naruto's smile widened. That's because there is a power hostile to it in your body. It's not entirely correct to say that you are the souls of Kagaya Otsutsuki. Chakra is composed of spiritual power and vitality in the body. You are the spiritual power of Kagaya Otsutsuki, which is the soul, plus the world force extracted by the divine tree, plus the soul force of the sage of the 6 paths. Ox Ghost stared at Naruto. What nonsense are you talking about? How can the old man be in our bodies? Naruto replied, Whether I am talking nonsense or not, you will know soon. When the 9-tailed beasts gather together again, I believe the 6 paths will come out. Ox Ghost frowned. I don't care about that. I just want to tell you that the power of the Jubi is not something you can control. You should stop as soon as possible. Otherwise, you will be used by evil people. In the end, you will only lose. Naruto looked at Ox Ghost and sighed. Thank you for reminding me. But I also want to remind you. Although you have the will of the 6 paths in your body, you are not the 6 paths in essence. You are not Kagaya Otsutsuki. You are Ox Ghost now. Since you are an independent individual, you should be able to think independently. You and Ju were both born in the body of Kagaya Otsutsuki. Then why does Ju want to save his mother, but you want your mother to continue to sleep? Ox Ghost asked, Why are you thinking about this? Naruto mocked, It proves that you are being used. Your thoughts have been sealed. Right now, you are not truly alive at all. Isn't that a very sad thing? Ox Ghost thought seriously and replied, So what if I think about it clearly? I will not be myself soon. I will return to the body of the Jubi. In your words, I will not be who I am now. Naruto looked at Ox Ghost, and the corner of his mouth cracked open. He asked like a charlatan, Then do you want to be really alive now? Live with an independent identity. Ox Ghost lowered his head as if he was thinking. You don't want to live without life? Even if I have lived for a long time, I still want to live now. I can meet all kinds of interesting people when I am alive. Saying this, Hachibi looked up at the sky. Killer Bee's soul appeared in front of him. Killer Bee closed his eyes as if he was sleeping. I want to continue living. Naruto also looked up at Killer Bee. He had to admit that Killer Bee was indeed a very infectious person. It made people feel close to him involuntarily, just like the shark muscle in Kisame's hand. Although it was taken back by Reikage and given to Akatsuki, it returned to the hands of Kisame. But the shark muscle has been unhappy recently. I can promise you that I will let you live in the future. Chapter 621. I can promise you that I will let you live a real life in the future. What is a real life? How to live a real life? Before Ox Demon could understand Naruto's meaning, Naruto disappeared from his sight. The spiritual connection between the two was broken, and there was no response when he tried to connect again. The Gedo Mazo's devouring speed was getting faster and faster. 12 hours later, the seal was completed. Success. This work is really tiring. Daida stretched his waist and began to complain. The other people's colorful projections were also a bit shaky at this time, not real. Obviously, Chakra's consumption was not small. Zetsu suddenly said, "Next, it's Nine-Tails' turn." The atmosphere suddenly became tense. Everyone looked at Naruto. Naruto looked at Zetsu. Because it was a colorful projection, Naruto's expression couldn't be seen at this time. "Yes, I am ready. By the way, before the seal, I remember that Senpai was looking for me for something, right?" At the same time, a black shadow suddenly jumped out of Naruto's shadow. The black shadow attached to Naruto's body, and Naruto's skin was wrapped in a layer of black substance. Secret technique. Spiritual fusion. Black Zetsu said, "Yes, I will go and have a good chat with you." Naruto's spiritual connection with the Akatsuki was interrupted. At the same time, Zetsu's projection also disappeared from the Gedo Mazo. Such a change startled Obito, and quickly contacted Naruto through the spiritual network. "Is there a problem?" However, the person who returned to Obito was not Naruto, but Zetsu. Zetsu took control of Naruto's body, and said with a grin, "I didn't expect. There is indeed a problem with you. I am curious, Obito, what made you betray me? Have you forgotten Rin's death? The powerlessness at that time, and the hatred for the world, have you forgotten all of it?" Obito, who had his memory rewritten, had no impression of Rin, and at this moment, he was only worried about Naruto. "Zetsu, what are you going to do to Naruto?" Ju was silent for a long time and then mocked, "You are worried about this little guy? I don't know who killed this little guy's parents. What a poor child. He lost his parents when he was just born." Zetsu's words stimulated Obito. In Obito's rewritten memory, that scene was Madara's. Just when Obito was about to be enraged, Naruto said, "Noisy. Do you think you can control me just by entering my body?" In the space sealed by Nine-Tails, Naruto's spirit body opened its eyes. Golden soul power swept out with Naruto as the center. Their spirit powers touched, and Naruto pulled Black Zetsu into the Nine-Tails sealed space. The moment Black Zetsu saw Naruto's spirit body, he was stunned. Naruto's spiritual power actually made him feel fear. How could such a thing happen? He was a special life form born from Kagaya's consciousness. He was the son of God. "What's wrong with you?" Black Zetsu questioned Naruto. Naruto's golden soul power was solemn and full of divine aura. "You didn't even test my situation, and you dare to attack me. Who gave you the courage?" Behind Naruto, the Death God's edge vibrated. The unique soul pressure of the Death God fell on Black Zetsu's body. Black Zetsu felt a burst of horror and looked at the Death God's edge again. He roared, "This is impossible. This thing can't still be in the world. This thing was destroyed in the hands of the Six Paths." Naruto raised his hand, and the Death God's edge fell into his hand. He wondered, "Do you know this weapon? This thing is related to the Six Paths?" Black Zetsu shook his head again and again. "Impossible, this blade has been destroyed, impossible." Black Zetsu's fearful look made Naruto curious about the death god's edge in his hand. He said, "You don't want to say? Then let me guess, this blade. Could it be related to the 9-tailed beasts? The 6 paths used the power of this blade to cut out the 9-tailed beasts from Kagaya's body?" Black Zetsu's soul power became unstable. Naruto knew that most of his guesses were correct, even if not all of them were correct. Naruto showed the prayer beads wrapped around his left hand to Black Zetsu. "Do you know this thing?" Black Zetsu looked at the beads blankly. He felt an aura from the beads that was similar to the blade in Naruto's hand. "This is... I see, it seems that it is indeed destroyed, the beads and the blade are separated." Black Zetsu's emotions seemed to have stabilized again. Naruto frowned, and the blade in his right hand directly slashed down. The blade cut through Black Zetsu's body and divided him from 1 to 2. Black Zetsu's body twisted in pain. He roared, "How is this possible? It is clearly destroyed." Naruto's brows relaxed. "Forget it, I'm too lazy to ask you, since it works on you, it's good." Naruto waved his blade again and slashed at Black Zetsu again. Black Zetsu was cut from 2 to 4. The painful scream made Black Zetsu's body twisted. "I am immortal. Even if you have this blade, you can't kill me." Naruto sneered. "Who said I was going to kill you?" The prayer beads on Naruto's left hand scattered. Naruto's hand stretched and turned into 4 to grab Black Zetsu. Beads of sealing, seal. Black Zetsu wanted to struggle, but his body was still pulled into Naruto's body. This scene was like the ghost sealing technique. 4 Black Zetsu were pulled into Naruto's spiritual body, and the prayer beads wrapped around Naruto's hand again. Black Zetsu was sealed like this. "What are you doing?" Black Zetsu's consciousness was still there. Naruto didn't look back, and said to Obito, "Give me Rinnegan." Obito saw that Naruto was communicating with him through the spiritual network, and he was relieved. Naruto's 5-star identity card is bound by a soul contract, and no one can use it except Naruto. Good. The next moment, Obito took the Rinnegan and sent it into the Kamui space. Rinnegan was transmitted from the Kamui space, which is the space in Preserved Egg's body, to Naruto's hand. Transplant surgery. Naruto's eyes were replaced with Rinnegan. The exclusive rules and privileges belonging to Rinnegan were handed over to Naruto's hands. When Naruto opened his eyes again, the world seemed to be different at this moment. Teleport. Naruto's body disappeared and appeared in a huge mine. This was the place where Hachibi was sealed. It's just that Gedo Mazo had been sent back by Obito. Naruto felt carefully, and there was a connection that made Naruto feel the existence of Gedo Mazo. Summoning technique. Naruto's hand pressed on the ground. On the moon, the sealed Gedo Mazo responded to Naruto's summon and appeared under Naruto's feet. At the same time, the hollow moon began to shake. On the moon, a boy with closed eyes looked at the water ball in the starry sky. The seal has been opened again. What exactly is going on down there? I have to find a way to see. The Gedo Mazo was summoned by Naruto's feet, and Naruto's hands formed a seal. Release. The mouth on the Gedo Mazo slid down. Illusory Dragon 9 Seals. 9 chakra dragons came out of the Gedo Mazo's mouth and bit Naruto's body. Naruto didn't summon the other members of the Akatsuki, and he wanted to seal the 9 tails by himself. Chapter 622. Spiritual Network. Naruto issued an order to the snow-capped mountain. Implement the plan to set things right. In the name of the land of earth, attack the land of lightning. Sasuke asked, "Do you need me to lead the team? Or continue to monitor Uchiha Itachi?" Naruto replied, "Don't worry, now your brother's eye is ineffective against me. I won't kill him. You can lead the team to attack the land of lightning. I want you to do your best and take down the land of lightning within a day." Uchiha Sasuke, Raja. Hinata was a little worried about Naruto. Is the plan ahead of schedule? Did something happen? Naruto comforted, "It's nothing, it's just that the time is right." The time is right? That's right, if Black Zetsu didn't take action directly, Naruto's plan wouldn't be so fast. After explaining the situation of the snow-capped mountain, Naruto found Obito and returned his Sharingan. You go to the snow-capped mountain and transport the army. Obito. Roger. After everything was explained, Naruto closed his eyes. When I open my eyes again, I will see the world that belongs to me. Preserved Egg, did the will of the world find me? Preserved Egg replied, the will of the world has noticed you, but it hasn't recognized your identity as an outsider. As long as the rules of the Rinnegan are not completely swallowed, the will of the world can't find us yet. It hasn't found us yet? It's worth his hard work to analyze all the tailed beasts. Naruto closed his eyes, and the 9 dragon heads swallowed the 9 tails. 9 llamas, I will wake you up again later. 9 tails didn't answer. However, the speed of the 9 seals was faster. 9 tails had completely given up resistance. Naruto said in his heart, I will help you find the memory you lost in the starry sky. In the temporary base of the Akatsuki organization, 9 Tails' chakra fluctuation made everyone feel uneasy. It's 9 Tails' aura. Will Naruto be okay? Ghost Mermaid murmured worriedly. On the table in front of Ghost Mermaid, the bandaged mermaid abruptly opened its mouth and swallowed a mouthful of chakra, which had 9 tails floating in the air. Then, like a cat that smelled durian, he retched. Then, he spat out the 9 tails chakra. Obviously, the shark muscles did not like the smell of 9 tails chakra. Ghost Mermaid glanced at Ji-Hao's weird muscles and said teasingly, You're quite picky about food. While speaking, he touched the shark meat with his hand. But all of a sudden, the shark meat opened its mouth and bit Ghost Mermaid's hand. Pain, in the sky above the land of lightning, the morning fog rose. Obito stood inside the complete body Susanoo, looking down at the headquarters of the land of lightning in the land of fire. Behind Obito, the space was distorted, and a huge mouth opened in a black space. Finally, this day has come. Living until now, I'm really sinful. The first to walk out of the black space was Senju Tobarama, who was wearing an armor and floating in the air. Standing with Senju Tobarama was a little lowly with beautiful red hair, Uzumaki Mito. Uzumaki Mito was not wearing an armor and was suspended in the air by a disc under her feet. Uzumaki Mito replied, It's okay. Didn't Naruto say that those are all criminals who have committed heinous crimes? There's no need to feel too guilty about using their lives. Because they are criminals, there's no need to feel too guilty? If his brother knew that he had sacrificed 20 lives in order to live until now, presumably, he would not be able to avoid a beating. What if his brother knew that his sister-in-law was like this now? The picture was too beautiful to imagine. Let's wait until my wish is fulfilled and then slip away. His wish. Destroy the lightning country and hand over the world to that person. In the past 3 years, he has witnessed too many miracles from that person. The prosperity and harmony of the snow country is the most ideal country in his mind. He believes that if the world is in the hands of that person, it will become better. Uzumaki Mito muttered, These people are all bad people who bully the Uzumaki clan. Let's capture them all and use them as experimental materials. Hearing this sentence, Senju Tobarama's mouth twitched. While he was still feeling guilty for sacrificing 20 lives, Zhang Ruochen was still thinking about it. His brother and sister-in-law were thinking about slaughtering the city. What a sin, what a sin. Everyone listened to the order. Tobarama shouted in a loud voice. Behind him, the sound of uniforms standing in the black space was connected. Attack. Those who surrender will not be killed. 2 shadows flew out of the black space, Uchiha Sasuke wearing an armor and Hinata with a pair of bat wings. The surface of Uchiha Sasuke's armor was covered with a layer of Susanoo armor. The bat wings behind Hinata were the small bat that turned on Sage mode. Now she is using the ghost jellyfish jutsu and Hinata to assist in flight. Behind the two, there were 2 teams of armor troops. There were 3 vice captains. There were nearly 1,000 members. Everyone in the team led by Sasuke had a dragon eagle. Hinata led the two-winged tiger. Switch to the air combat mode. Collective Ghost Jellyfish Jutsu. Chakra was supplied by the chakra system. The entire army moved in unison. Fusion of people and ninja beasts. The Dragon Eagle armed forces stretched out a pair of powerful eagle wings behind them. The two-winged tiger was similar to a centaur. Because they were all women with graceful curves, if they were not on a mission, there would be a burst of whistling. These girls were completely covered with armor, and their bodies were several times taller because of the two-winged tiger, and the spear in their hands was extraordinarily heroic. Compared to them, the Dragon Eagle squad was petite. Therefore, in terms of combat, the 1st Division was good at being a scout, responsible for intelligence collection and launching surprise attacks. The 2nd Division was a fierce attack. Attack! Hinata ordered, and the 2nd Division raised their spear, flapped their wings, and flew straight to the Land of Lightning. Sprinting into a 10-kilometer range. The Land of Lightning security barrier was touched. The sentry who hadn't woken up looked up at the sky, and then the alarm rang. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! The spear pierced into the sentry tower, and chakra formed a wind blade storm, and a sentry tower was directly crushed. As for the living, there was no such thing. The wind blade on the spear was like a meat grinder, and it had already squeezed the juices out of people. It was cruel. But it was also lucky that the instant death didn't leave any pain. Above the sky, Tobarama clenched his fist. He muttered, "Attack with all your strength, hit the enemy until they are scared, and the loss will be minimized." Thunder and lightning suddenly appeared, and Raikage roared, "Bastard, you are looking for death." Tobarama took a deep breath, and his voice was as loud as a bell. "In the name of the Land of Earth, we will crusade against the Land of Lightning. Those who surrender will not be killed. Rebels have no intact bones. 9 generations will be killed." Tobarama's voice, under the blessing of special runes, formed a sound wave and pushed toward the Land of Lightning. After listening, Raikage's eyebrows wrinkled into a knot. The Land of Earth? Isn't that old guy dead? Looking at the humanoid beasts, wearing unknown armor, he had never seen them before. Raikage rushed to one of them, intending to test the enemy's strength. In his view, with so many soldiers, the mass-produced soldiers shouldn't be much stronger. Raikage. Shameless boasting. After the army, Hinata's bat wings suddenly flapped, and her speed increased sharply, facing Raikage. Sasuke was one step ahead and said, "I will do it." Hinata entered the Sage mode and overtook Sasuke. The 1st Division will assist. The attack is the 2nd Division's business. Hinata's speed made Sasuke, who was using Mangekyo Sharingan, feel dazzled. Why does this girl feel like a different person? What happened when I was not in the land of snow? Hinata and Raikage met. Gentle fist. Heaven palm. With one palm, Raikage was directly hit. Seeing this, the first team's morale soared, and like a tiger entering a flock of sheep, they followed closely behind Hinata. The 2nd Division suddenly felt their scalp tingling. The same thought popped up in their minds at the same time: these women have gone crazy again. Chapter 623. After Raikage was hit, the shock in his heart couldn't be any more. He was actually sent flying by a woman's palm strike. A woman. And this person is not Tsunade. It's just a woman I don't know. Come again. Raikage roared. Lightning gathered outside his body and formed a shock wave, shaking the debris that fell on his body. With the blessing of the lightning armor, his body was activated, and his potential was stimulated to the extreme. Raikage was like a cannonball, and he blasted toward Hinata. Ninjutsu, lightning cannon. Hinata didn't dodge. She bent her right elbow and raised her palm. The modified version of Gentle Fist, plus fire release, called Flame Palm. Hinata faced Raikage, falling from the sky, and pushed out her palm. Before the two met, the invisible palm imprinted on Raikage's abdomen. The lightning armor was dented and deformed, and a handprint was forced out. The handprint continued to sink deeper and deeper until it penetrated Chakra's armor. Hinata's compressed chakra rushed into Reikige's acupuncture point. Explosion! With a loud bang, Reikige's abdomen was engulfed in flames, and a huge flame bomb exploded. And Reikige was swallowed by the explosion and heavily bombarded on the ground again. Surrender, I won't kill you. Hinata didn't pursue again. She looked down at the smoke-filled pit, and she was domineering. At the bottom of the pit, Reikige held his abdomen in pain, and his body was curled up like a shrimp. Hinata's chakra exploded in his aperture points, and even though he has been training his body for a long time, he couldn't withstand it. If it was someone else, they would have been blown to pieces. Woo! Reikige gritted his teeth and stood up from the ground. The wound on his abdomen was very painful, and it felt like being fried in a pot of hot oil. Large beads of sweat rolled down his face. He was defeated, and he was defeated very quickly. The disparity in strength made him feel scared. Reikige bent his body, lowered his head, and pressed his hands on his knees. His body trembled, and he barely stood. Little girl, what's your name? Hinata replied, Hinata. Hyuga. The Hyuga clan of Woodleaf? Reikige suddenly raised his head. He asked, Are you from Konoha? At the same time, a white-haired man rushed out and looked at Hinata with joy. Hinata? Where is Naruto? Hinata turned to look at the person. It was a young-looking man. He had white hair. White hair. Chakra focused her eyes and activated Byakugan. You are Jiraiya-sama? Jiraiya lifted the transformation jutsu. Scratching his head, he laughed and said, I was actually seen through at a glance. Very powerful. Where's Naruto? Reikige narrowed his eyes and stared at Jiraiya. Jiraiya, one of the Sannin of Woodleaf, is here, but I'm curious why you didn't do anything when we attacked Woodleaf? Could it be? I know, you're waiting for me to unify the world. Then you'll stand up and deal with me, so the world is yours. It seems that I underestimated Woodleaf. The village established by First Dame Naruto shocked me both in strategy and strength. Jiraiya listened and looked at Hinata. Hinata didn't answer and repeated again, the Lightning Country has been defeated. Continuing will only increase the casualties. Reikige gritted his teeth and squeezed out the words from his teeth. You want me to surrender? Since the Lightning Country has been defeated, what's the value of their life to me? Don't think it's so easy to take away my Lightning Country. Reikige suddenly burst out. He punched Jiraiya. Jiraiya quickly made hand seals. Chaotic Lion Jutsu. In the blink of an eye, Jiraiya's white hair grew wildly and completely wrapped Jiraiya, turning him into a sea urchin with thorns. Sneak attack me? You're too young. Jiraiya was very proud. Then he shouted to Hinata, Leave this madman to me. You go deal with others. Hinata didn't know how to deal with it for a while, but fortunately, Tobirama came. Little guy, go play with the mud, it's none of your business. Tobirama looked at Jiraiya indifferently. According to the seniority, Jiraiya was indeed a little guy to the former second Dame Naruto. Jiraiya and Tsunade were the same generation, and Tobirama was Tsunade's grandfather. What did you call me? Jiraiya couldn't believe it, and he looked at Tobirama. This face is so familiar. Huh? Have we met somewhere before? Reikige saw someone coming again. He immediately stopped and fled. Hinata caught up before Jiraiya. Jiraiya wanted to chase, but he was blocked by Tobirama. No wonder Tsunade doesn't like you. You don't even have the eyesight to recognize people. Jiraiya heard Tobirama's words and frowned. Who the hell are you? Tobirama said his name, Tobirama Senju. Jiraiya's pupils shrank sharply, and then he quickly reacted. Naruto, that brat actually used Edo Tensei? Such a vicious ninjutsu has been listed as a forbidden book, and he still dares to use it. Jiraiya was furious and was about to reprimand Naruto. Tobirama interrupted. Do you have a problem with the ninjutsu I developed? Jiraiya's expression froze. That times are different. This Edo Tensei is indeed listed as a forbidden technique now. Tobirama looked at Jiraiya with an expressionless face. He said, "Sasuke, how long are you going to watch? Come and get rid of this guy." At the same time, on the moon, a huge golden eye was watching the battle in the ninja world. Infighting. 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 In addition to infighting, it's still infighting. The world created by the Rikudo Sennin is too disappointing. There is no reason for such a world to continue to exist. A young man with closed eyes whispered. What should I do? Now the Gedo Mozo is no longer in the moon. It seems meaningless for our clan to continue to stay here. Then it's better to go to the ground and do something meaningful. The young man closed his eyes and muttered to himself a few times, and suddenly said to the people behind him, "What do you think?" Behind the young man, there were many guys with pointed hats floating. Human figures, loose robes completely covered their bodies. They also wore the same mask on their faces. There was no verbal response, those people just bowed their heads respectfully and waited again. The young man closed his eyes and sighed, "You guys are so boring, I hope there will be some interesting guys on the ground. I've decided, I'm going to the ground. But first, I have to find a pair of eyes. Mine's eye jutsu, although I can see things, it's still too blurry. Where are the eyes?" The young man communicated with the huge golden eye with Mind's eye jutsu. His sight fell on the snow country. In the virtual world, in the Hyuga clan's room, there was a very cute little girl there. I'll borrow her eyes first. Chapter 624. On the moon, the huge golden tensigan formed by many Byakugan opened a passage to the ground. The passage was like a slender pipe filled with water, with huge bubbles made of special rules floating inside. No, it was more like an elevator, because those bubbles were carrying the youth to the ground against the characteristics of buoyancy. At the same time, in the land of lightning, Sasuke cut off most of Jiraiya's hair. The old man who cut off Jiraiya's waist-length curly hair was the most unlucky. "Sasuke, you're serious?" Jiraiya, who had most of his hair cut off, was scared and furious. If he hadn't dodged in time, it would have been his head that was cut off. Sasuke didn't answer, and the long sword in his hand slashed at Jiraiya again. Manjikyu Sharingan Genjutsu activated. Night Killing Jutsu. This ninjutsu is a fusion of Night Walking Jutsu and Wood Leaf's 3 Sun and Moon Dance. Based on Manjikyu Sharingan's powerful Genjutsu, depriving and controlling the enemy's 5 senses and creating night. Then combining physical attacks with Genjutsu, he hid in many shadows and launched an attack. There was no sound. The long sword cut through Jiraiya's neck. Ding! The sound of metal colliding was heard. It was Jiraiya's hair. Jiraiya's hands formed hand seals, and the broken hair grew rapidly and wrapped around Jiraiya in the blink of an eye. Needle Xitigaba. Jiraiya's hair stabbed around like a sea urchin. Puff. Puff, puff. The sound of clones being broken sounded one after another. Sasuke's clones hidden in the shadows were swept away. His attack didn't work. Sasuke frowned. He looked at the long sword in his hand. The blade was curved. The long sword looked like a Kusanagi sword. It was returned to him by Naruto. Naruto said that this was his Kusanagi sword. Obviously, he was tricked by Naruto. What a waste of time! Sasuke threw away the sword in his hand. A spare long sword without a handle popped out of the armor. Holding the sword with both hands, the fire element chakra in his left hand and the lightning element chakra in his right hand. Fusion. Sasuke's self-created bloodline limit cleansing escape. The dark chakra gathered on the sword and once again slashed at Jiraiya. The long sword pierced through Jiraiya's sea urchin-like metal hair. Plop. Jiraiya's body fell to the ground. You really want to kill me? Sasuke withdrew his sword. Cleansing escape had been forced by second Naruto to fuse with it. In second Naruto's words, if Naruto could fuse with the blood limit boundary, then he should be able to do so as well. At the same time, this is also one of the 3 conditions to unseal the Sharingan. You're weaker than I thought. Sasuke replied and turned to leave. Jiraiya, who was cut in half, opened his mouth and said, "Since I'm about to die, tell me why." Sasuke replied, "I didn't intend to kill you. You're just too weak." Jiraiya smiled bitterly. "Am I too weak?" Jiraiya suddenly grabbed Sasuke's foot and formed a seal. Yellow Spring Swamp. The ground softened, Sasuke's body suddenly sank, and half of his body sank into the flowing swamp. Jiraiya formed a seal with both hands. Summoning Jutsu. The space distorted, and a huge toad appeared in front of Sasuke. An intact Jiraiya sat cross-legged on the toad and looked down at Sasuke with a smile. "Do you still think I'm weak?" Boom. Jiraiya, who was lying on the ground with Sasuke, disappeared. It turned out to be a clone technique. When Sasuke glanced around and his eyes fell on an open space. It should have been full of Jiraiya's hair, but now Jiraiya's hair was gone. At that time, Jiraiya on the toad saw that Sasuke could still remain calm and praised, "You're still so calm after being imprisoned by me. This is very good. Now I'll ask you questions, and you'll be responsible for answering. If I'm satisfied, I'll let you go. The first question is, why did you attack me? Didn't you attack the Land of Lightning for the wood leaf?" Sasuke glanced at Jiraiya and sneered, "You call this imprisonment?" With that, a pair of eagle wings opened behind Sasuke, and with a sudden flap, he pulled himself out of the swamp. He rose into the air, disappeared in the blink of an eye, and appeared behind Jiraiya. Cleanse Release. One sword. Jiraiya's cheeks puffed up as he turned his head. Flame Bullet. A scorching fireball sprayed towards Sasuke. "Jiraiya, be careful behind you." The toad's eyes widened, and he slashed towards Sasuke, who appeared behind Jiraiya. Jiraiya frowned. He didn't feel the existence of Sasuke. Was the toad controlled by Genjutsu? Or was he under Genjutsu? While Jiraiya was stunned, Sasuke's sword and the toad's sword slashed together. The sword passed through, and the sword fell on the toad's body. Feeling the fatal threat, the toad chose to leave. With a bang, the toad cancelled the summoning jutsu. Sasuke passed through the vaporized clouds, landed, turned around, and slashed at Jiraiya again. "It turned out that I was under Genjutsu. The Uchiha's Dojutsu is really powerful." At the moment when the toad left, Jiraiya finally felt the existence of Sasuke. He avoided Sasuke's attack. Jiraiya stared at Sasuke. "Now, your Genjutsu is ineffective against me. I can already feel you." Sasuke didn't continue to attack, and his eyes fell on his body. There was a layer of oil on the surface of the mech armor. Sasuke instantly understood that this was left by the toad. It stuck to him as he passed through the fog. Cunning toad. Jiraiya's hands formed seals, and his mouth puffed up. Flame Bullet. The fiercely burning fireball smashed towards Sasuke. The armor was detached. The flame bullet hit the mech armor, and the fierce flames crackled. The mech armor was burning brightly, as if it was about to melt. Jiraiya looked at the iron lump in front of him. He didn't see Sasuke. Was the scene in front of him real? Was he still in the Genjutsu? Shadow Clone Jutsu. One Jiraiya turned into three. The three Jiraiyas formed seals at the same time. One formed the Heavenly Cover Seal, two summoning jutsu. Jiraiya's hand pressed on the ground. A sword slashed down from the sky, cutting through Jiraiya's summoning jutsu. One of the two summoning jutsu failed. The other one was Fukusaku Sennin. "You want to use Senjutsu mode? It seems that you've recognized me and decided to go all out." Sasuke appeared in front of Jiraiya. Jiraiya frowned and asked, "You know this?" Sasuke replied, Naruto told me. He said that when you summoned the two old toads, it was when you used Senjutsu mode." Fukusaku Sennin asked, "What's the situation?" Jiraiya replied, "I met a difficult opponent, I need to figure out something, so I have to end this quickly." Fukusaku suddenly said, "Behind." Jiraiya subconsciously turned his head, and Fukusaku suddenly stabbed Jiraiya's abdomen. Jiraiya looked at the old toad in front of him in disbelief. You. The genjutsu was lifted. Sasuke looked at Jiraiya with a calm expression. He said, both summoning jutsu failed. Jiraiya understood. At the same time, a sword was placed on Jiraiya's neck. It was a metal armor. There was no one in the metal armor remote control system. Jiraiya smiled bitterly. It seems that I lost. The Mangekyo Sharingan in Sasuke's eyes was lifted. P.S. July 23rd, Sasuke, Kuin's birthday. This chapter wishes Sasuke, Kuin a happy birthday. P.S. Sasuke, no, I want red envelopes. I want money. Chobwa wants to reward Sasuke, Kuin with money. Chapter 625. Sasuke's Mangekyo Sharingan was lifted. Jiraiya looked at Sasuke with appreciation. Feeling Jiraiya's gaze, Sasuke frowned. You're under arrest. Jiraiya asked back. You won't kill me? The sword inserted in his chest seemed dangerous, but it didn't actually hit his vital points. Sasuke replied with a cold face, if you want to die, I can help you. Jiraiya smiled. At this moment, the hair on Jiraiya's hand suddenly attacked Sasuke, stabbing straight at Sasuke. Sasuke was forced to retreat. Jiraiya took the opportunity to escape. It's really thrilling, if you kill me directly, I may really die here today. Jiraiya pulled out the sword from his body, then made a hand seal with one hand, and disappeared with a bang. Sasuke's face was very ugly, staring at the place where Jiraiya disappeared. This is the consequence of not killing him directly. Tobirama replied, Naruto still wants him to be a witness, he can't die yet. Sasuke's face was even more ugly. Troublesome guy. Sasuke looked at the fake Kusanagi sword inserted in the ground, and his mood became worse. When he sees Naruto again, he will have to talk to Naruto. Sasuke hesitated and walked closer to pick up the sword. With his understanding of Naruto, if there is no evidence, this guy will most likely act shamelessly. It's not impossible to blame him again. For example, he lost the Kusanagi sword. Then, this guy will take out the Kusanagi sword and say that he got it back. It's better to use various reasons to keep the sword. That's a shameless guy. Tobirama said to Sasuke, go after the ninjas of the Land of Lightning. After Raikage escaped, many people escaped. Sasuke nodded. But suddenly his body stiffened, and then his body began to shrink. What's going on? Sasuke checked his body in horror. The system's health scan was normal. But his body continued to shrink. From 1.8 meters to 18 centimeters. And turned into a frog. Wahahaha. How does it feel to become a frog? Hiss. The disappeared Jiraiya appeared again. While coughing blood, he ridiculed Sasuke. Because of the wound was affected by the laughter, Jiraiya grimaced in pain. Then, he formed a seal with one hand and disappeared with a bang. Sasuke, Tobirama. Obviously, Jiraiya came out this time to annoy Sasuke. The Toad transformation jutsu, no. It's just a transformation jujitsu. Tobirama looked as turned into a frog frog. Smile unexpectedly with a smile. If this style is uploaded to the video section, it will sell like hotcakes, right? Tobirama heard this and his eyes lit up. Sasuke opened his mouth to say something, but only one syllable came out of his mouth. Quack. Obito and Tobirama burst into laughter. Obito's system panel. System prompt. Image recording is successful. System store prompt. The item, Sasuke turns into a frog, has been priced. System store prompt. The item, Sasuke turns into a frog, has been sold. System prompt. Mercenary Academy Teacher System page successfully opened. Academy store. The item, Sasuke turns into a frog, has been sold. Academy store. The item, Sasuke turns into a frog, has been sold. Sasuke's system panel. System prompt. Found your exclusive tagged item, check. Sasuke had a bad feeling in his heart. He opened the system store. Sasuke turns into a frog. Author ID, Masked Handsome. Obito really hung him up. System prompt sounded again. Found your exclusive tagged item, check? Check again. Sasuke turns into a frog. Version 2-inch author ID, Lord Tobirama. Sasuke gnashed his teeth in hatred. The most excessive thing was that both items were soon listed in the hot sales area. And there was also a product push area. Too much. Too much. Manjikyu Sharingan open. The frog transformation jutsu was forced to be dispelled by a powerful mental attack. Jiraiya's chakra attached to Sasuke was dispelled. After Sasuke returned to normal, he looked at the two people around him with a dark face. Obito turned around and left. I think I should go after the fugitive. Obito slipped away. As Sasuke's teacher, Tobirama patted Sasuke on the shoulder and said with a kind face, "We'll split the points." Sasuke's face was even darker. The first team members tacitly avoided looking at their captain. The second team didn't spoil him at all. The group of women were already laughing. Especially those who pursued Sasuke in the past and were rejected, they laughed particularly happily. At the same time, in the land of Earth, Naruto, who was sealing the 9 tails, received a message. It was from Gurney. Look at the goods area, there's something good. Naruto clicked on it and burst out laughing. System prompt, Sasuke requests a call. Why did Sasuke call him at this time? It was nothing more than taking that shameful item off the shelves. Naruto was very smart and directly set the system mode to do not disturb. The seal of the 9 tails has reached the best moment. Naruto's consciousness entered the sealed space of the 9 tails. The tearing of the illusory dragon 9 tails was the process of breaking the chakra, and the pain was unbearable for ordinary people, but the stubborn 9 tails didn't make a sound. Among the 9-tailed beasts, even Bull Demon couldn't help but curse. Naruto looked at 9 tails. 9 tails looked down at Naruto with an arrogant face. Naruto bowed to 9 tails. Teacher 9 Lamas, although we used to scheme against each other, we have accepted each other in the end. We are teacher and disciple, and also friends. In the future, I will return this favor. Also, I will help you find your lost memories. 9 tails looked at Naruto quietly. After a long silence, 9 tails' body began to fade. It became fainter and fainter. This was a sign that the seal was about to end. Finally, just as it was about to completely disappear, it spoke. What you said might be true. The dessert is really delicious. Kyuubi glanced at Naruto, turned into a light mist, and disappeared. The dessert was really delicious? Naruto's face showed a smile. After 9 tails lost his memories, he and 9 tails talked a lot about the past. One of them was about dessert. And he ate a lot every day. Don't worry, I will return this favor. 9 tails' seal was completed. The Gedo Mazo was completely alive. 9 eyes disappeared. A huge flower bud grew out of 9 tails' back. The flower bud grew bigger and bigger as if it could bloom at any time. The 10 broken tails were quickly repaired. The chains on the wrists were directly broken. Roar! The mountain collapsed, and 9 tails struggled to rush out of the ground. Naruto communicated with 10 tails with Rinnegan, and the illusory dragon 9 seals continued. Seal Black Zetsu. Black Zetsu didn't resist, his eyes stared at 10 tails, and his mouth said, Mom. The speed of sealing Black Zetsu was very fast. Compared to the tailed beast, Black Zetsu had too little chakra. Mom, I'm back. The seal of Black Zetsu was successful, and Naruto communicated with 10 tails with Rinnegan. Seal. Naruto established a spiritual connection with 10 tails, and an old man appeared in front of Naruto. Sitting cross-legged in the air, with 2 horns on his head, with a pair of Rinnegan. Sage of the 6 Paths, child, did power make you lost? Chapter 626. The water droplets fell on the surface of the water, spreading across the valley. Layers of ripples spread out, turning into waves. Child, Have you lost yourself in power? The voice was low and deep, with a hint of weariness. Naruto looked at the source of the voice. The Sage of Six Paths was wearing a jade robe, holding a staff in his arms. He was sitting cross-legged in the air, looking at him with pity. The Sage of Six Paths' face was very white and old, like the bark of a dried birch tree. Of course, the most eye-catching thing was the pair of horns on his head, and the long beard that hung down to his chest. Naruto looked at the Sage of Six Paths, and the Sage of Six Paths was also looking at Naruto. At this time, Naruto was in a spiritual body, but the golden light on his body faded away, and his appearance was exactly the same as his original body. You don't seem too surprised to meet me, Naruto finally said. Surprised? Of course I'm surprised. Because I'm so surprised, I'm a bit confused. I wonder why an old man appeared after the fusion of the nine-tailed beasts. The Sage of Six Paths was speechless. I'm not the fusion of the nine-tailed beasts. Before the Sage of Six Paths could finish, Naruto interrupted. Oh, you're not? Then I'm not interested in who you are. Please don't stand in my way. Thank you. The Immortal of the Six Paths was frustrated as he was rebutted halfway. He opened his mouth, but suddenly he was speechless. It was the first time for the Sage of Six Paths to experience something like this. Naruto saw that the Sage of Six Paths opened his mouth but didn't say anything, so he continued, Is there anything wrong with you? Do you want me to take you to the hospital? Or let me take a look at you? I'm quite proficient in medical ninjutsu, but my fee is higher. The Immortal of Six Realms took a deep breath and finally said, I'm not sick. Naruto's caring expression suddenly turned into disgust. Not sick? If you're not sick, then why are you pretending? I think you're seriously sick. The deity of the Six Realms was enraged. His spiritual pressure rose and he scolded, Shut up. Naruto used Rinnegan to offset the pressure. The pressure was useless against Naruto. The Immortal of Six Paths frowned and calmed himself down. With a weak voice, he introduced himself, I am the Immortal of the Six Paths. Naruto's eyes widened and he raised his voice. Oh. Seeing Naruto's reaction, the Sage of the Six Paths' expression softened a little. But to his surprise, the next moment, Naruto asked, I don't know him. The frown on Immortal of Six Paths' face deepened, and the wrinkles on the corners of his eyes were so deep that they could almost pick up paper. He could tell that the little guy in front of him was making fun of him. Mischievous. How rude. Naruto replied, I don't know if I'm being rude or if you're being rude, but you pulled me into your spiritual world without my consent or greeting me. Is this your etiquette? Or do you think that it's an honor for me to meet you, so you can do whatever you want? The Sage of the Six Paths was stunned by Naruto's scolding, and he began to think seriously. Did he really do something wrong? His expression softened a lot, and he explained, My body has fallen, and this is the only way to meet you. Naruto asked, Your body has fallen? You're dead? The Sage of the Six Paths suddenly felt that every word he said to this guy in front of him was like eating a fly. No, it's a game. But he still nodded in agreement with Naruto's words. He explained, I fused my chakra into the bodies of the nine-tailed beasts. When the nine-tailed beasts are reunited, I can appear again to prevent the tragedy from happening again. Naruto nodded and replied, I see, I understand. My father also sealed chakra into the nine tails in my body, and then reappeared the moment the nine-tail seal was completely removed. The Sage of the Six Paths praised, Then your father must love you very much. Naruto replied, I know, is there anything else? If not, please let me go. If not, I'll rush out by myself. The Sage of the Six Paths said seriously, I came to see you because you're doing something wrong. I've seen the result of gathering power into one body. That was my mother. She only brought disaster to the world. I don't want you to follow her path. Naruto asked, Your mother? The Sage of the Six Paths nodded seriously, and then he told Naruto about Kagaya's life. In summary, she was such a kind woman. After obtaining power, she became arrogant because of it, and brought great disaster to the world. After hearing this, Naruto asked, "So you're here to stop me?" The Sage of the Six Paths' expression was sorrowful, as if he was still immersed in his mother's sin. Naruto asked, "So in the end, you sealed your mother on the moon, which is, the 10 tails formed from the fusion of the 9-tailed beasts?" The Sage of the Six Paths nodded again. Naruto asked, "Then you're going to seal me too?" The Sage of the Six Paths shook his head. "I'm here to persuade you to help me seal my mother again. Now that the 9-tailed beasts have fused together, she can wake up at any time. At that time, it will be a disaster for the world." Naruto dragged out the word, "Oh. Right, you said that you sealed your mother who went berserk, right?" The Sage of the Six Paths replied, "Yes." Naruto continued, "Since you can seal your mother, then you must be stronger than her at that time, right?" The Sage of the Six Paths nodded again. Naruto frowned. "Then, after you have great power, you can do good things. Why can't I? Are you the only one in the world who can be a hero? Why? How much money did you bribe the director?" The Sage of the Six Paths was dumbfounded. Naruto waved his hand impatiently. "The dead shouldn't meddle in the affairs of the living. Since you're already dead, you can die in peace." "I don't agree with your twisted logic. If you still think you're right, then go find someone else." The Sage of the Six Paths looked at Naruto with a complicated expression and said seriously, "That person can only be you. Because you're my son, the reincarnation of Azura. Only you can accept my power." Naruto said unhappily, "Old man, that's too much. If you want to talk, then talk nicely. Don't just call me your son. I don't have those monster horns on my head. By the way, don't lie to me. I can tell at first glance that you're not a good person. Stop pretending. Which normal person has 2 horns on their head?" The Sage of the Six Paths' face turned red with anger. How long has it been since someone mocked his horns? The last time someone mocked him was when he was a child. At that time, everyone thought of him as a monster. No one wanted to get close to him. He was treated like a plague. The only one who protected him was his mother. Mother. The Sage of the Six Paths' expression suddenly became complicated. Chapter 627. Mother. The Sage of the Six Paths whispered and couldn't help but reminisce. In a trance, he dreamt of the past. Old roads, short streets, small alleys. The rain-soaked soil was full of mud, and the streets were lined with uneven bluestones of various sizes. Water droplets rolled down from the roof tiles, dripping down from time to time. He was playing with his younger brother in the courtyard of his mansion. At that time, several children around his age climbed up the wall of his house. "Look, I was right, that guy with horns on his head is a monster." He looked over. The people on the wall panicked. "Oh no! We've been discovered. Run!" In the panic, the children threw a few stones at him before they ran. His forehead was broken, and blood flowed down. He was crying. "Yui, be a good boy, don't cry, Mommy will avenge you." His gentle mother hugged him in her arms, but he was pushed away by the young and immature boy. "Monster! Don't touch me! It's all your fault. Why am I your son? Why did you give birth to me?" He ran away, leaving his mother stunned by the scolding. That day, his mother avenged him, and the children who climbed up his wall were executed along with their families. But he wasn't grateful to his mother. Because the villagers looked at him with even more fear. He blamed everything on his mother. The Sage of the Six Paths looked at his young self and his grieving mother in his memories. At that time, Naruto's voice came from his ears. "You're too much. How could you say such things to your mother who loved you so much? Is this the darkness in your heart? You don't want to admit that you're a monster. You put all the blame on your mother. You even killed your mother who loved you to prove that you're innocent. How preposterous. Is this your justice?" The water droplets on the roof tiles stopped, as if someone pressed the pause button on the entire world. Naruto appeared next to the Sage of the Six Paths. His expression was full of pity and disdain. You said that your mother was evil. But in my opinion, it was you who drove your mother crazy. You hate your mother. Your mother hates the world because of your hatred. Should I say that you are pitiful for having such a mother, or should I say that your mother is pitiful for having a son like you? Or perhaps, you are all very pitiful. The scene shattered and returned to the Sage of Six Paths' spiritual world filled with water. The Sage of Six Paths stared at Naruto and said, "You used an illusion on me." Naruto said with a smile, "Facts have proven that you, who only have a soul, have a certain degree of control over the rules, but you can't compare to my pair of real Rinnegan." The Sage of Six Paths stared at Naruto. This meeting between father and son really surprised him. The Sage of the Six Paths looked at the water below Naruto's feet. A human face was reflected there. It was his son, Azura. He found the right person. Is there anything else you need from me? If not, then let me go. You should know that this place can't trap me. I just don't want to hurt you. After all, you're just a homeless soul. The Sage of Six Paths stared at Naruto. Naruto continued, "Do you still want to deny your sins? A person's spiritual world is a reflection of a person's true nature. Your spiritual world is dark and lifeless, filled with the aura of death. The water here is also your sorrow, isn't it?" The scenery around changed. Behind Naruto, the Gedo Mazo rose from the water. It wasn't a real existence, but rather an illusion created by Naruto's illusion. Naruto evaluated the Gedo Mazo and commented, "Gedo Mazo, is that the name you gave your mother? TSK, TSK, TSK. And the chains on her hands, did you put them on yourself? And the mouth, scroll, it was also you who put it on, right? Look at how much pain your mother is in." The Sage of Six Paths' expression became more and more unpleasant. Naruto suddenly laughed. "Fine, I won't touch on your scars. But before I leave, I want to say one more thing. Even if you kill your mother, you won't be able to stand on the side of humanity. Your mother still has the love of a mother. You are nothing but a pitiful worm who wants to be recognized." The Sage of Six Paths didn't let Naruto out. Naruto lifted his foot and took a step forward, and the sound of the mirror shattering exploded. He walked out of the Sage of Six Paths' spiritual world and connected with the Jubis. The Jubis' immense mental power came straight at Naruto. Naruto didn't move at all. "I'm not your enemy." The Rinnegan was activated. "I'm your new master. From now on, your sins will be redeemed by me." The Earth Country. At the bottom of the sunken basin, Naruto, who was lying on top of broken rocks, opened his eyes. The bright red Rinnegan looked like two bloody moons. "My power has indeed grown stronger." What a useless statement. Naruto stood up, stepped into the air, and looked down at the earth. Looking down at the sunken ground, Naruto raised his hand. The mountain that was blown up by the Jubi's riot rolled back from all directions and reformed into a mountain. "This feeling is really good." A smile appeared on Naruto's face. At this moment, in Naruto's spiritual world, the bloated Jubi shrank at a speed visible to the naked eye and turned into a human form. Then, she was curvaceous and had graceful curves. Long white hair cascaded down to the heel like a waterfall. Oval face, white and tender skin, the type that Naruto likes. His eyebrows were a very special bean-shaped eyebrow. This made Naruto think of the husky with two white spots. "Whose master are you?" The woman opened her eyes, and her cold voice was like a white wind blowing from the bottom of the snow country. Naruto's consciousness appeared in the sealed space. "You regained consciousness so quickly. Is it because of Black Zetsu?" Otsutsuki Kagaya didn't answer and raised her hand to press on the seal. Creak. A crack appeared on the sealing bead. The seal was about to collapse. Rinnegan control. However, it was ineffective. "Century egg. Come out. Didn't you say there was no problem?" Naruto shouted. Then a hairy white arm stretched out from the giant egg and pressed on Otsutsuki Kagaya through the seal. The palm turned into a huge mouth and bit off Kagaya's arm. But instead of swallowing it, she spat it out. "Be honest, if you make any more trouble, I will eat you." Otsutsuki Kagaya was stunned. Naruto was also stunned. This kind of comprehensive suppression is too cool. Century egg, not bad. Naruto patted the giant egg happily. Century egg replied, "If there is nothing else, don't call me again. Once I am discovered, I can't continue." In the land of thunder, Raikage was caught by Hinata. Sasuke was constantly sending messages to Naruto with a black face. Suddenly, Sasuke's vision turned black. An old man with a white beard appeared in front of him. "What's the situation? Genjutsu?" Sasuke subconsciously opened Mangekyo Sharingan, but it was ineffective. "I am Six-Path Sannin." Chapter 628. The Land of Lightning was destroyed. The daimyo of the Land of Earth took the stage. Overnight, the whole world was turned upside down. It stands to reason that such a huge change will cause chaos. Those countries that were defeated by the Land of Lightning should take advantage of this period, while the Land of Earth was not stable, to reunite and launch an uprising. But this didn't happen. Or it happened, but it didn't make any waves. Everything was carried out in an orderly manner, as if there was an invisible hand that had already arranged everything. Daimyo of the Land of Earth. The Land of Lightning's new Raikage building, located in the center of the 5 countries, where the Land of Fire used to be. Naruto sat on the chair that nominally belonged to the daimyo of the Land of Earth, listening to the report below. The person who reported was a red-haired puppet boy, Sasori of the Akatsuki. The Land of Lightning imprisoned a total of 1,503 ninjas. Among them, 400 are genin, 800 are chunin, 300 are jonin, and 3 are kage level. The information of these people is here. Sasori handed 3 books to Naruto without showing much respect. He casually controlled the 3 books with chakra and placed them on the desk in front of Naruto. Naruto didn't care and opened the booklet with the word Kage on the cover. The booklet was not bound, but folded into a long continuous strip of paper. It looked like ancient China's memorials. The names were Land of Iron's leader Mifune, Mist Village Mizukage Mei, and Iwagakure Tsuchikage Inoki. Hey! The Tsuchikage is still alive? It seems that the Raikage also has the idea of dust release. Then he opened the booklet with the word Jonin. Unexpectedly, Naruto saw a lot of wood leaf ninjas. After reading, Naruto put the 3 booklets together again. Tell these people about the destruction of the Land of Lightning. If they are willing to surrender, they will be released. If they don't want to, wait until I get married. Get married? Scorpion looked at Naruto in surprise, then nodded and went to do his job. But when he reached the door, he stopped. Without turning his head, he asked, "How much longer do you need to do what you promised me?" Naruto agreed to Scorpion's condition to revive Scorpion's parents. In exchange, Scorpion sold himself to Naruto and worked for Naruto for life. Soon. I'll definitely give you an answer after I get married. Scorpion continued to ask, then, is it the Edo Tensei or the true resurrection you mentioned? Naruto said with certainty, if you believe me, my answer is true resurrection. Scorpion's expressionless face finally changed. Then, can you? Forget it. We'll talk about it when the time comes. I'm going to do something. Scorpion walked out. Naruto looked at Scorpion's back and shrugged helplessly. When Scorpion walked far away, he sighed, another child who lacks love. Naruto looked at the map on the table. On the map, there were only 2 countries at this time. The mainland was marked as the Earth Country. The other was the Snow Country, which was not connected to the mainland. At the time, Naruto used Koto Amatsukami to give Raikage a hint to destroy all the countries in the shortest time and unify the world. Now it seems that Raikage completed this task very well. Next, in Naruto's plan, in the name of the Earth country, the entire country will be sorted out. The old system will be abolished, new policies will be enacted, and finally the Earth country will announce its abdication. All the land under the sky belongs to the king. Qin Shi Huang's feeling at that time. Would it be the same as mine now? Without denying it, Naruto felt a sense of accomplishment at this time. Naruto suddenly thought of another thing. So he dialed Sasuke's number. Sasuke's reply was as cold as ever. "What's the matter?" Naruto rolled his eyes and teased, "Can't I chat with you if I don't have anything to do?" Sasuke coolly replied, "If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up." Naruto's mouth twitched. This reply was really cold. Sasuke was as uncute as ever. There's something. Kakashi just got a son and is secretly preparing for the wedding. I plan to attend the wedding and give him a surprise. Sasuke coldly replied, "Oh." Naruto was choked by this reply and asked, "What gift are you going to bring?" "I haven't attended a wedding before, so I don't know what to bring." Sasuke coldly replied, "I wasn't invited." Naruto laughed, "What a coincidence, I wasn't invited either." Sasuke, red packet. This was considered an answer. Naruto was about to ridicule him. Sasuke directly replied, "If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up." Then, without waiting for an answer, he directly hung up. Naruto angrily stomped his feet. "In this world, you're the first one who dares to hang up on me like this." Then Naruto hung up on Hinata and the two of them chatted affectionately. They agreed on a time to prepare a gift for Kakashi together. On the other side, Sasuke was standing on the building of Snow Country, looking down at the bustling Snow Country. In his mind, the words of the Sage of the Six Paths kept echoing. "You should have noticed it, right? There's another person in your body. You are my eldest son, the reincarnation of Indra. I also have a second son called Azura, I think you've noticed it too. But, he has lost himself in power and is no longer the him of the past, so... System notification, intruder discovered. System notification, intruder's location has been marked." Sasuke opened the map. In the north of Snow Country, there were currently 4 red dots marked. Clack! The mechanical wings of the metal armor flapped as Sasuke rushed over like a cannonball. The mechanical wings were not as agile as the Dragonhawk's wings, but it was faster in a straight line. In the blink of an eye, a bolt of lightning flashed across the sky as Sasuke directly arrived. The location of the intruders marked on the map. 4 weirdos. They all wore masks on their faces, pointed hats on their heads, and black robes as they floated around. Sasuke raised his hand as the metal armor ejected a long sword. Purify. Just as Sasuke was about to kill these people with one slash, the old face of the Sage of the Six Paths appeared in front of him again. "Don't kill them. They can help you." Before he could finish, the mental connection was cut off. Sasuke's long sword slashed down. The 4 intruders were directly cut in half by this slash and died on the spot. "Don't bother me anymore. Naruto hasn't changed. If one day he really wants to destroy this world, then I think it must be because he's disappointed in this world." Handsomely sheathed his sword. At the same time, outside the defense system of Snow Country, Tonari Otsutsuki closed his eyes and clearly saw what happened in Snow Country with his mind's eye. He mocked, "This guy's words are surprisingly in tune with mine. To be honest, I'm also very dissatisfied with the world you left behind, Sage of the Six Paths." Chapter 629. Rejected by his 2 sons in a row. Hagoromo Sennin was in a bad mood at this time. Indra and Azura were chess pieces he left behind to seal his mother. The meaning of their existence was to prevent his mother from breaking the seal. But now, they are out of control. Moreover, they were rejected in front of his brother's descendants. How embarrassing! Hagoromo Sennin, brother of the ancestor, what do you want me to do now? With my strength alone, it seems that I can't control the Yin and Yang seals at the same time. Hagoromo Sennin didn't answer. Hagoromo Sennin was thinking. Otsutsuki Tonari continued in boredom. I say, you are really biased. If others die, they die, but your two sons can be reincarnated. Isn't this too much of a cheat? Maybe it's because he has been alone on the moon for too long. Otsutsuki Tonari can't stop talking as soon as he opens his mouth. He's a real chatterbox. Hagoromo Sennin, why don't you give me both seals? I can try. Although I can't master it now, after I have the Byakugan and open the Tensigan, I should be able to use it, right? This is indeed a way. Hagoromo Sennin replied. In that case, your chakra may be emptied. Otsutsuki Tonari replied. Then, seeing that I have made such a great sacrifice, can you give me a privilege? Just like your sons, they can also be reincarnated. Well, I have to add a little more, reincarnate with memories. How about that? After all, I have sacrificed a lot. You won't even agree to such a small request, right? Hagoromo Sennin, I don't have that kind of power now. Hearing Hagoromo Sennin's reply, Otsutsuki Tonari was extremely disappointed. Then you won't give me any reward? Hagoromo Sennin said seriously, this world is facing a crisis of destruction. As a child of this world, it is your honor to sacrifice yourself. Otsutsuki Tonari sighed. Is that so? Since that's the case, I'll tell you the truth. Originally, I came down this time with the intention of destroying this world. Immortal of the Six Paths' face darkened. Otsutsuki Tonari quickly added, but don't worry, after the destruction, I will use the power of the Tensigan to create a better world. To be honest, the world you created is really not that great. The Immortal of Six Paths was silent. Tonari Otsutsuki kept talking about his great ideals. First of all, I plan to transport a batch of small animals that I like from this world. This way, when the new world is born, they can continue to live. And then, let me think. Since I'm a god, I still lack a partner. I want you to let her become the progenitor of the new world with me. By the way, you should hate your son now, right? Let me tell you, I actually hate that son of yours. Immortal of Six Paths, Otsutsuki Tonari continued, guess which one? I can give you a hint. It's not the one you saw just now. You know, right? Yes. It's that guy named Naruto. Do you want to know why? Why don't you guess? Immortal of Six Paths felt like he was going crazy. He decisively cut off the spiritual connection with Otsutsuki Tonari. However, in the next moment, Otsutsuki Tonari took the initiative to connect. Because Otsutsuki Tonari already had part of the Yin-Yang seal on his body. Otsutsuki Tonari continued, why did you cut off the connection? Can't you guess? Then I'll tell you. Because this guy hooked up with the person I like. Why don't you guess who I like? I'll give you a hint. When I was a child, my father and I came down once and saw that girl. By the way, you were sleeping at that time and didn't know what happened. Then I'll tell you. It's another descendant left by my ancestor, the princess of the Hyuga clan, Hinata. What do you think? Isn't the girl I like very good? Her Byakugan purity is extremely high. After marrying me, our children will also be very good. At least better than your children, and more obedient than you. Immortal of Six Paths once again cut off the spiritual connection. Otsutsuki Tonari was stunned. He continued, are you still angry because of your disobedient son? In fact, that guy is quite pitiful. When I was idle on the moon, I would watch what happened on the ground. That guy grew up being humiliated. He was under pressure that he shouldn't have to bear at his age. You should understand him. Immortal of Six Paths' face darkened. Shut up. Otsutsuki Tonari replied, my mouth has always been closed. We are communicating mentally, so there is no need for a mouth. Immortal of Six Paths was speechless. With a wave of his hand, he took back part of the Yin-Yang seal on Otsutsuki Tonari's hand. When you need it, I'll give it to you. Immortal of Six Paths decisively cut off the connection. For a moment, it seemed that the whole world was quiet. Otsutsuki Tonari felt the seal leave and said with a look of grievance, "Why did you take the seal away? Didn't you say you would give it to me? That's the only gift I've received in the past few years. You're going to take it back just like that without saying anything. Is this okay? Doesn't your conscience hurt?" But in fact, Otsutsuki Tonari was very satisfied with this result. In his view, the power of Immortal of Six Paths was not needed at all. The power of his ancestor, Otsutsuki Hamura, was not inferior to Immortal of Six Paths. When Otsutsuki Kagaya was sealed, his ancestor also contributed. But the world only knows about Immortal of Six Paths, and they don't know about Otsutsuki Hamura. In terms of sacrifice, who can compare to them, who lived on the moon in obscurity? In his view, Immortal of Six Paths was a bit too much. Yes, he deliberately angered Immortal of Six Paths. The real him was not a chatterbox. And what he imitated just now was the guy called Uzumaki Naruto, who he hated very much. It turned out that that person was really despicable to the extreme. So despicable that even Immortal of Six Paths couldn't stand him. But, although it was an imitation, but why did it feel so good to succeed in angering people? Recalling the process of angering Immortal of Six Paths just now, Otsutsuki Tonari suddenly felt a sense of exaltation. He made his ancestor proud. Otsutsuki Tonari looked at the snow country in the distance with mind's eye technique. Now there is another problem in front of him. How can he successfully enter the snow country? Before getting the Byakugan, he felt that he was not the opponent of that guy. What should I do? Should I find a way to sneak in? Or wait outside for the people inside to come out? Otsutsuki Tonari looked at the remaining servants behind him and said, "Do you know?" Silence. Otsutsuki Tonari let out a long sigh. He muttered to himself, "There is one more thing. Immortal of Six Paths said that Naruto can't suppress Kagaya Otsutsuki in her body. So the next time I see Naruto, should I call him Little Beast or Great Grandmother?" Chapter 630. If the Earth Country's defeat of the Lightning Country shocked everyone, then what happened a month later was even more incomprehensible. The daimyo of the Earth Country, who had only been in power for a month, actually wanted to pass on his position. And it was a person with a different surname, without royal blood. The former Fire Country, Woodleaf Ninja Village's Nine-Tails Human Pillar Force, Uzumaki Naruto. For a time, rumors spread all over the country. Many people said that this Uzumaki Naruto was the child left behind by the daimyo in private. Virtual reality world, Earth Country's high-level meeting. Naruto, Tobirama, and the daimyo of the Earth Country were present. To be precise, only Naruto and Tobirama, the daimyo of the Earth Country, could barely be counted as spectators. Naruto, for those comments, I think, in fact, it's okay if you don't care. This way, it will be more justifiable. Naruto repeated, "Don't care?" Tobirama nodded. The daimyo of the Earth Country took the initiative to express his position. "Leave this matter to me, I will say that you are my child, and I guarantee that they won't be suspicious." Naruto looked at the daimyo of the Earth Country with an expression of looking at an idiot. "You want to be my father? Are you getting carried away?" The daimyo of the Earth Country felt that Naruto's tone was wrong, and quickly explained, "It's not true, isn't it all for convenience?" Naruto replied angrily, "Go play with the mud, you are old enough to be my grandfather, there's a limit to an old cucumber pretending to be young, okay?" The daimyo of the Earth Country shrank his neck and didn't speak. On the contrary, Tobirama's eyes suddenly lit up. He said, "Yes. You can let him be your grandfather. Yondaimyo Naruto is a war orphan, who his parents are is not recorded in the Woodleaf." "Huh? Is this okay?" Naruto subconsciously wanted to object, but thinking about it, it seems that it's not impossible. He couldn't accept having him acknowledge a father, but having his own father acknowledge another father seemed to be acceptable. The next day, the country of Earth gave an official reply regarding the identity of Uzumaki Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto was the son of the fourth Uzumaki Naruto. The fourth Naruto was the son of the daimyo of the Earth Nation. After this identity was put on, those people of the older generation who worshipped the royal bloodline really acknowledged Naruto's existence. However, a fake was a fake after all. It couldn't withstand scrutiny. In order to divert everyone's attention, under Naruto's instructions, the Earth Country's officials announced another important piece of news. After the coronation ceremony, the new emperor, Uzumaki Naruto, was going to get married. For a time, the topic of discussion on the streets shifted from Naruto's background to the question of who the bride was. Who do you think the new daimyo will marry? The people next to them joked, "In any case, it's definitely not your daughter." The madam who started the conversation glanced at the person who answered, "What's wrong with my daughter? My daughter has a willowy waist and thin eyebrows. She's very pretty, unlike that tomboy in your family who runs around the streets all day, full of muscles and tomboy." After a few words, the two madams started to quarrel. The people next to them didn't try to mediate the fight. They all watched happily. It was obvious that they weren't afraid of making a big fuss. After the quarrel passed, the topic was pulled back. "I wonder whose daughter it is. She's actually so lucky." "Right," you said. "Could it be that the bride hasn't been decided yet and will be chosen after the coronation?" As soon as this sentence was said, the people next to them seriously thought about it. "I remember. He didn't say who he's going to marry. So, the new daimyo means to choose a bride after the coronation?" Everyone pondered for a while and agreed, "It's hard to say. I heard that the new daimyo isn't that old." Someone else said, "Even if it's decided, then, maybe it was his grandfather who decided it for him. The new daimyo might not like it at that time." Then, the words about the daimyo choosing a bride after the coronation spread out. Moreover, the rumors were so vivid and realistic. Soon, the number of young girls in the streets and alleys of the country of Earth increased significantly. Furthermore, all of them were dressed up gorgeously. Every day, they would wander around the famous residence. Every time they wandered around, it would take them an entire day. Among them, the most interesting thing was Hinata's reaction. "Naruto, you said that after the coronation ceremony, you're going to marry me, right?" Naruto approached Hinata with a smirk. "What? You can't wait to give yourself to me?" "If that's the case," Naruto put his mouth close to Hinata's ear, "we can consummate our marriage tonight." Hinata blushed when she heard this. She said shyly, "Who's in a hurry? What nonsense are you talking about? I just want to ask, other than me, you won't marry anyone else on that day, right?" Hinata gritted her teeth and finally asked. She stared at Naruto's eyes without blinking, as if she wanted to see through Naruto's thoughts. Naruto wanted to laugh when he heard this. He wanted to solemnly declare his ownership. But when he saw Hinata's nervous look, Naruto couldn't help but want to tease Hinata first. Naruto said with a serious face, "Yes, there are a few more." Hinata's face turned pale when she heard this, and she asked foolishly, "How many more?" Naruto held back his laughter and counted his fingers. "Let me count with my fingers for you. There's Hinata number 1. There's Hinata number 2. Hinata number 3, number 4. Hinata was dumbfounded when she heard this. After she came back to her senses, she finally realized that Naruto was teasing her. She raised her hand and reached for Naruto's ribs, and fiercely pinched. In fact, with Naruto's current body, he really couldn't feel any pain. But Naruto still played along in an exaggerated manner. "Ouch. Pain. 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 Let go. Let go. You've pinched off my flesh." Hinata was shocked at first, because she couldn't bear to use force at all. Why was Naruto in so much pain? The answer was obvious. He was faking it. After figuring it out, Hinata was amused by Naruto. The two of them started to fight. In the end, there was no winner or loser. It was Naruto who pretended to be chased and beaten by Hinata. Then in the game of running and chasing, Naruto suddenly slipped. Hinata subconsciously pulled Naruto, but Naruto pulled her into his arms. He lowered his head and pressed his lips on hers. Hinata's body was stiff at first, and she resisted slightly. But in the end, she let him pluck her. Naruto unceremoniously took several mouthfuls of her fragrant and soft red lips. He never got tired of it. He kissed Hinata's lips until they were swollen before he stopped. It wasn't because he stopped at the edge of the cliff. It was because Scale suddenly appeared in front of them. Hinata stepped back from Naruto and whispered, "Don't lead the child astray." Although Naruto was unwilling, he still stopped. He said to Scale with some blame, "Didn't I tell you not to use space ninjutsu in this building? If you want to go through the door, you have to knock first. This is the most basic etiquette." Scale rolled his eyes at Naruto and said, "Sorry to bother you." Then he disappeared again. Naruto pinched his waist angrily. Hey? This child, who did he learn from? It must be Obito. I'll teach that guy a good lesson later. Look at his children, they're getting more and more outrageous. After teaching Scale a lesson, Naruto turned his head and wanted to kiss Scale, but Hinata slapped Naruto's mouth. "No, my mouth hurts from your kiss." Chapter 631. In the first year of the Ming calendar, the Earth Nation passed the throne to Uzumaki Naruto. After Uzumaki Naruto succeeded the throne, he changed his name to Naruto and called himself Emperor Naruto. He changed the name of the nation to Mingdu Empire. Mingdu was built at the center of the continent, and the capital was also called Mingdu. From this, it could be seen that Naruto's narcissism was unprecedented. No, he should be called Emperor Naruto now. The day Emperor Naruto ascended the throne was also the day Mingdu was built. Everyone saw Emperor Naruto standing in the sky and praying to the heavens, asking the heavens to bestow upon him the eternal royal city. The heavens responded, and auspicious clouds surged. The earth shook and the mountains moved within 1,000 miles. An imperial city that had never existed since ancient times rose from the ground. At that moment, the entire world was shaken. Hundreds of birds landed on the green mountains and bowed together with hundreds of beasts. Such a phenomenon could only be described as a miracle. After the coronation ceremony ended, Emperor Naruto announced the wedding date 3 months later. The venue was Mingdu. For a time, brilliant lights gathered between heaven and earth. Dragons and phoenixes condensed into invitations, inviting everyone. Who received Emperor Naruto's invitations? Thousands of miles away from Mingdu, everyone felt like they were in a dream. Someone asked. Those who received the invitations instinctively wanted to hide the invitations. However, they soon discovered that everyone seemed to have one in their hands. The red, gilded, embossed invitation was the size of 2 palms. It was very eye-catching. "Everyone has an invitation?" Someone asked. Everyone nodded blankly. Then, did everyone in this place get an invitation? Or the whole world? The phenomenon of Emperor Naruto's ascension was reflected in the sky. In their opinion, the whole world should have seen it. Then, it was very likely that everyone had an invitation. This was very terrifying. This kind of means was not something that could be achieved by humans. For a time, everyone blamed this on the gods. A phrase was also born. The power of the king was bestowed by the gods. Jiraiya was among the crowd. He held Naruto's invitation in his hand. Huge waves of emotions were surging in his heart. He muttered to himself, "Could it be? The child of prophecy that I've been searching for half my life. Is Naruto?" Jiraiya racked his brains. Naruto was indeed red-haired, and he had called him teacher. However, he did not seem to have taught Naruto before. Could they be considered master and disciple? Or maybe... Jiraiya's eyes suddenly lit up. Maybe there are still light spots on my body that I didn't notice, and then it affected Naruto and was learned by Naruto? Jiraiya nodded, and he firmly believed it. At the same time, the ninja beasts of the 3 holy lands also received the invitation. The toads of Mount Miaomu, the snakes of Longdi Cave, and the slugs of Shikatsu Forest. The more unique ones were the slugs. This was because Immortal Slug only had one true body, and those little slugs were all split off from Immortal Slug. Hence, the Shickle Forest only received one invitation. So, should I go? Meow Mushon's great toad Immortal stared at the oversized invitation card in his hand with blurry eyes. He was a little confused, and no one knew what he was thinking. Lonely Cave's white snake Sage stroked its head coquettishly and supported its chin with its tail. Its pair of snake eyes were cold and full of confusion as it stared blankly at the invitation card that suddenly appeared in its hand. Shickle Forest's great toad Immortal. Its invitation card was also the largest. It was as tall as a mountain, standing on the ground. However, it was a little worried. Without hands, how could it open this invitation card? Well, it could use chakra. But soon it found out. With its chakra, it was a little difficult to turn the behemoth in front of it. Can you become smaller? Immortal Slug muttered to itself very cutely. Then chakra spread out, and the huge invitation card began to shrink, until it was the size of a palm. This time, Immortal Slug successfully opened the invitation card. She sighed with emotion. That girl Tsunade took in an amazing disciple. Some people who received the invitation were happy, and some were worried. But these people were not as complicated as Tonari Otsutsuki. Snow Country. Barren Mountain Snowfield. Tonari Otsutsuki was still worried about how to enter the snow country and pick Hyuga Hanabi's eyes. Suddenly, a mirage appeared in the sky. The person he hated the most acted like a fool in front of him. Then, she sent him an invitation card. The person she liked was about to get married, but the groom wasn't him. Should he go and steal the wedding? Yes. But the problem is that he can't beat her now. Unless he can get the Byakugan and promote it to Tensigan, there is hope. Hagoromo Sennin, come out for a while. How strong is Naruto now? How is he compared to you? Also, has Naruto found me? Hagoromo Sennin, who had disappeared for a long time, appeared again. He replied, I didn't feel the aura of the force of nature. His strength should be close to Mother's, but worse than mine. Hearing this, Tonari Otsutsuki finally breathed a sigh of relief. If that's the case, then when he gets the Byakugan and promotes it to Tensigan, he still has hope. Plus, if he can't, he still has the support of Hagoromo. And the Inyong seal? Tonari Otsutsuki asked. Then he shouldn't find me, right? Hagoromo Sennin replied, throw the invitation card away. With this invitation card, he can indeed feel your existence. But it doesn't matter. You are not much different from ordinary people now. It's not enough to attract his attention. Is that so? Tonari Otsutsuki breathed a sigh of relief again. That's good. Then his heart moved. Naruto is going to get married and invite the world to a banquet. Then, the Hyuga clan has no reason not to participate. They will definitely rush to Mingdu. This way, his opportunity would come. Mingdu. The moment the heavenly reflection disappeared, Naruto was lying on the dragon throne. Such a big battle would consume a lot of energy. As for the operation principle, it's actually very simple. It's to connect the infinite Tsukuyomi and the spiritual network together to form a projection that can complete a global broadcast. As for the invitation card, it involves the use of Yin-Yang release. It's to materialize chakra. That is, creation. This ability is something that Naruto recently learned. It's an ability that he gained after fusing with the Jubi and opening the Sharingan. Why are you still looking at me? Why don't you come over and massage your man's shoulders and back? Naruto was lying on the dragon throne in the posture of Guyu and greeted Hinata, who was not far away. Hinata looked at her invitation card, and her face was full of blush. After hearing Naruto's call, she rushed to Naruto, hugged Naruto's neck, and kissed him very actively. Naruto was slightly stunned. Then, he enjoyed it very much. Soft, sweet, and a little salty? Naruto opened his eyes, and his cheeks were a little wet. Hinata, crying? Silly girl, Why are you suddenly crying? I didn't bully you, you can't scam me. Hinata was amused by Naruto's teasing, and she snuggled in Naruto's arms. You bullied me, I want you to compensate me, you can't leave me for the rest of my life. Chapter 632. Naruto. Tonight, take me. Hinata whispers in Naruto's ear. For a moment, Naruto's blood is boiling. His hand uncontrollably reaches into Hinata's clothes. Hinata's face flushed red as she exclaimed, Naruto-kun. At this moment, Naruto's breathing is rapid. His breath is like a cow's. It was a hot summer day, but the breath he exhaled actually turned into mist. This scene was truly shocking to most people. Naruto picked her up, turned around, and put her on a chair. The palace has just been built and there is no one here yet. But this hall is really spacious. The dragon throne is located on the 27th floor of the platform. The so-called 39th floor means that every 9 floors leads to a platform. From the bottom to the top, there are a total of 3 platforms. The position is high and the view is wide. Doing that kind of thing is really shameful. Naruto, is he going to do it here? Although she was a little moved just now, when she opened her eyes and saw where she is, Hinata is shy. She is also a little regretful and a little hesitant. Naruto-kun. I mean at night. Hinata's heart was scared. Naruto's hand still wants to reach inside. Hinata clenches her teeth and a cursed seal appears. In an instant, Hinata burns into a fireball. No. The flame formed by the force of nature burns even Naruto. Are you trying to murder your husband? Hinata hugs her legs and curls into a ball. I mean at night, it is still daytime. And it has to be in the bedroom on the bed. Naruto looks around in a daze. He touches his head. The first time here. It is indeed a little wild. Then, extinguish the fire, I will teleport you to the bedroom. The curled-up Hinata shakes her head and says, It is still daytime, no. Naruto is angry. Tentatively, he reached out to Hinata, but the flame burned his fingers and made a crackling sound. For a moment, the air is filled with the smell of burnt feathers. There is also a faint smell of meat. Naruto's face is as black as the bottom of a pot. Seeing that Hinata is not cooperating, he can only give up. Naruto takes a deep breath, sitting cross-legged in the hole. Okay, I will go calm down. Then Naruto's body froze into a block of ice visible to the naked eye. It looks like iced prawns. It was truly cold. There was a moment of silence. After a small episode, the space in the palace hall distorts, Obito and appears. Then the space distorts again, forming a vortex. The senior staff of the Great Snow Mountain Research Institute. Sitting on the dragon throne in the Imperial Palace, Hinata felt lucky. If Naruto was really here, what would happen to her? If these people suddenly appear, she will face? What are you two doing? One is frozen into an ice lump, and the other is on fire. Are you playing ice and fire? Tsunade takes a few steps back. The two of them, one cold and one hot, the air in the room rises and falls, forming a strong air current. Hinata quickly retracted the flames on her body. For a time, frost begins to form in the hall at a speed visible to the naked eye. A gust of cold air blew against his face. It was even colder than the cold winter wind in the 12th lunar month. Naruto, do you want to freeze your master to death? Finally, the ice on Naruto's body begins to recede. Tsunade scolds, What are you two doing at this time? Naruto's face is full of MMP. I just want to cool myself down. Cool down? Tsunade suddenly realized and her eyes wandered between the two of them. Seeing Hinata's red ears, she let out a long, oh. So that's how it is. I understand. But Naruto, you too, this is the first time you found such a place. Which good girl can stand it? Hinata's eyes widened. Tsunade-sama, what are you talking about? There are so many people here. Hinata is embarrassed. Tsunade cooperatively covered her mouth, but gave Hinata an "I understand" with a little encouragement. Fortunately, Naruto is still protective of his wife. He interrupted, "The ascension ceremony has ended smoothly, don't stand here, let's have a celebration party and have fun." Obito joked, "We're here to ask you for this. We waited outside for a long time and didn't see you come back, so we thought you two ran away to have some alone time." Needless to say, Naruto really did have this intention. They also came in time. "By the way, why don't I see Gunny?" Naruto glanced at the crowd and found that Gunny was not there. Gunny replied, "Sister went to prepare the barbecue, we decided to have the grandest bonfire barbecue party. What do you think?" Naruto gave Gunny a thumbs up. At the same time, Gunny, who went to prepare the barbecue, was wandering around the forest as if he had lost his soul. In his hand was Naruto's invitation. This day still came. Although she had been prepared for a long time, this day really came. She was so sad. She didn't know when it started, but she got used to having someone by her side that she could mock and bully, and slowly developed feelings for him. That person's shamelessness. That person's rashness. That person's excellence. They continued to get along, and they continued to deepen. Is it too late to realize my feelings? Actually, it's not too late. It's just that she didn't want to fight for it. Hinata is also her good friend. When they were in Woodleaf, they went to Naruto's class together, and then they did some small things together. They compared and discussed with each other. She really didn't want to fight with someone so familiar and close to her. That's why she chose to stay by Naruto's side, waiting and looking forward to it. Waiting for the two to realize that they were not suitable for each other. Waiting for them to become pure friends. Then, she would be able to express her feelings. But she forgot that Naruto was so outstanding, how could anyone let go of him? Hinata was not a fool. Gunny looked up at the leaves on the ground. The leaves blocked the sunlight and left a shadow. It shrouded her again. This feeling was so depressing. I'm the fool. Why are you so generous? The leaves rustled. It was not the sound of the wind. Gunny was shocked and looked in the direction of the sound. He saw someone looking at him. It was a girl who looked very similar to Hinata. I thought I was the only one who was sad. Gunny looked into Asta's eyes and suddenly smiled. Asta's eyes were filled with disappointment. Her red eyes, which were obviously crying, were especially cute in her eyes. Asta looked at Gunny in a daze and soon had a guess in her heart. She smiled bitterly and said, I think it's definitely not just the two of us. When the wedding starts, I'm afraid most of the girls in the world will be heartbroken. When two people who were in the same boat walked together, there would always be a lot to talk about. After the two of them greeted each other, they began to talk to each other. They talked about how they met a certain scumbag, how they fell in love with each other. Gunny started from the Woodleaf Hospital for the disabled. He talked about leaving the Woodleaf Hospital and going to the snow country to work hard. Gunny talked for a long time and then he cried. The sadness in Asta's eyes was replaced by pity. Compared to your experience, mine is nothing. You've sacrificed far more than me. As for me, now that I think about it, I was just thinking too much. I thought he invited me here because he wanted me to be his woman. Sigh, if I knew that wasn't the case, I definitely wouldn't have come. Humph. Chapter 633. Snow Country. After Naruto's image disappeared in the sky, there were still people kneeling on the ground. The expression on their faces was solemn and solemn. It was the solemnity of worshipping gods and Buddhas in the shrine. They were even more pious than when they went to the shrine. Is Naruto the state preceptor? Finally, someone spoke out the shock in his heart. The snow country has never been a place where information is blocked. The war of the 5 major countries didn't affect here, but the news outside was known to everyone here. This benefited from the powerful information-sharing ability of the system built by Naruto. There was also the loose control on the postbar. Only the state preceptor can create such a glorious thing. Some people asked, some answered. Soon, everyone realized the second question. Who is the state preceptor who unified the 5 major countries going to marry? They didn't need to open the invitation, these people had the answer. Not long ago, their state preceptor held a marriage proposal ceremony. Thinking of this, they thought of the second question. If the state preceptor gets married, their queen, what will happen? This question has been in their hearts for a long time. Snow Country capital. Fenghua Snow was also angry at this time. Get out of here. Who let you in? Get out of here. Fenghua Snow cried in her bedroom, and the servants were worried and gathered, but they were quickly scolded away. In the bedroom, Fenghua Snow was crying. But she didn't know what she was crying about. Logically speaking, now that she was the ruler of the world, she should be happy that she was still the leader of the Snow Country. But in fact, she wasn't. On this day, the palace of the Snow Country was very depressed. At the same time, the Great Snow Mountain Research Institute. On the top of the mountain, the Hyuga clan stood together in a neat row, silent as cicadas. They had woken up, and it was Inuheim and Wolf Girl who woke them up from the virtual reality world. Then they saw Naruto's ascension and the miracle of the heavenly sacred city. And they received Hinata's wedding invitation. There was also a detailed record of everything that had happened in the few months that they had been sleeping. Hyuga Hayashi's face was full of complexity. When they woke up, the wood leaf was gone. The fire country was gone. Wood leaf was destroyed by Kumogakure, and the land of fire was destroyed by the land of lightning. Then, he was killed by the Earth Nation. The position of Earth Country's great general was given to Naruto. Why did he give it to Naruto? Naruto was the son of the 4th Naruto. The 4th Naruto was actually the son of the daimyo of the Earth Nation? Is that so? How could the 4th generation Naruto be the son of the daimyo of the Earth Kingdom? This kind of thing was impossible even if one used their buttocks to think. However, everyone actually believed him. After all, the position of Earth Nation's great general had been given to Naruto. Strange. Everything was strange. Who am I? Where am I? Was he still in a dream? Hyuga Hayashi slapped himself in the face at the Hyuga clan's residence. His mouth was very loud. Pa! Such a ridiculous thing. Hyuga Hayashi would never do such a thing in the past. But none of the things that were happening before his eyes made him understand. It didn't feel real at all. Patriarch. This slap shocked many people. Hyuga Hayashi ignored these people and lowered his head to look at the invitation in his hand. The most ridiculous thing was, their daughter was about to get married. And they were just notified. Before this, they knew nothing. They didn't even get a betrothal gift. They didn't even ask for their permission. How do I contact your master? Hyuga Hayashi asked Inazheim. Inazheim took out a 3-star identity card and handed it to Hyuga Hayashi. Just drip your blood into chakra on it. This is an identity card. You will know its specific function when you bind it. After Hyuga Hayashi took it, Inazheim gave one to Hinata's mother next to Hyuga Hayashi. There was also one for the cute little Hanabi standing behind them. The other Hyuga clan members were left aside. Hyuga Hayashi took the identity card and looked at it over and over. Just drip my blood on it? Inazheim nodded politely and said, yes. Hyuga Hayashi pondered for a moment and was about to do it. At this time, someone from the Hyuga clan next to him asked, Patriarch, let me do it. Just in case. Hyuga Hayashi hesitated and looked at Inazheim. Inazheim took out another card and said, if you want to test it, you can use this one. The authority of the 2 identity cards is different. Hyuga Hayashi raised his eyebrows and compared the 2 cards. The 2 cards were similar in appearance, except that one had 1 star on it and the other had 3 stars on it. There was no difference. Is it a high-end product in my hand? Being treated with respect made Hyuga Hayashi feel a little better. No, just drip a drop of blood. With that said, He flicked his finger and dripped a drop of blood on the identity card. The system prompt sounded. After experiencing a series of bizarre beginner tutorials, Hyuga Hayashi's face showed the shock of every first contact with the system. "This thing is amazing, amazing," Hyuga Hayashi muttered to himself. Then he added Naruto as a friend according to the system prompt. Then he clicked on the video call. Suddenly, looking at the prompt in the call request, Hyuga Hayashi's heart was a little nervous. Hyuga Hayashi took a deep breath. He comforted himself, "Hinata's father in the bedroom, why should I be nervous? It should be that kid who should be nervous. You actually snatched my precious daughter away without saying a word. Hinata is also at fault for this matter, she didn't say a word to them. In fact, Hinata was wrong about this." As early as when their consciousness was in the virtual reality world, Hinata told them. But now, Hyuga Hayashi didn't realize that the experience in the virtual reality world was not a dream. The video call was connected. Naruto's image was projected in front of Hyuga Hayashi's eyes. "Hello, father-in-law." Naruto was very enthusiastic, and the father-in-law was particularly affectionate and shameless. Hyuga Hayashi's face darkened, and he scolded, "Who are you calling father-in-law? I haven't agreed to this marriage yet." Hyuga Hayashi was not used to communicating with the system for the first time. This sentence was directly scolded out of his mouth. This made the other people a little inexplicable. After all, only Hyuga Hayashi could see Naruto. Hinata's mother asked nervously, "What happened?" Hyuga Hayashi in the real world was taken aback. "You can't see that brat?" Hyuga Hayashi pointed to Naruto in front of him. Inuji on the side reminded, "This is an internal call, only people who are bound to their identity cards can see it." Then under Inuji's guidance, Hinata's mother also bound her identity card. Then the video call was connected. Hinata's mother also saw Naruto. Naruto smiled brightly. "Hello, mother-in-law." Hinata's mother was not as cold as Hyuga Hayashi. She wasn't so angry. She smiled politely and asked, "Are you Uzumaki Naruto?" Naruto nodded in acknowledgement. Hinata's mother was a little absent-minded. "I didn't expect you to grow up and become more like Kushina. If she could see you, she would be very happy." Chapter 634. Kushina. Hearing this name, Naruto was silent. He has been worried about one thing for the past few days. He is going to get married soon. Will his parents attend? If they attend, Yondaime Naruto has a way to resurrect him, but the ashes of his mother, Uzumaki Kushina, are still with Orochimaru. And Orochimaru is still missing. Naruto even suspected that Orochimaru is dead. But he couldn't resurrect Orochimaru with Edo Tensei. This proves that Orochimaru is still in this world. This is amazing. After fusing with the Jubi and becoming the Jubi human pillar force, he can be said to be a god at this time. However, he still couldn't find a small snake. Naruto quite admired Orochimaru's ability. In addition, Naruto has captured all the people around Orochimaru, including Yugo, Karen, Red Lotus, and Yukimaru. But these people don't know the whereabouts of Orochimaru. Orochimaru seems to have really disappeared from the world. At the same time, Hayashi's expression was slightly absent-minded. Hayashi thought of Yondaime Naruto. Yondaime Naruto is a very outstanding person. In the turmoil of Nine Tails, that person saved everyone. The Hyuga clan also owes that person a favor. If it's that person's child, he won't refuse to marry Hinata. But without giving a betrothal gift, it doesn't make sense to do this without saying anything. Naruto, don't you have anything to say about Hinata? Hayashi's face eased slightly, and his tone was calm. Slowly, the aura of an elder hit his face. Naruto promised seriously, "I will treat her sincerely." Hayashi's face darkened. That's not what he asked about. He wants a betrothal gift. It's respect. It's a traditional etiquette. As for treating Hinata sincerely, Is there a need to guarantee this? This is a must, okay? How dare you not be sincere? Do you really think my Hyuga clan is a vegetarian? Believe it or not, I will. Hyuga Hayashi roared in his heart. But the embarrassing thing is, not long ago, the Hyuga clan was robbed of everything and moved out of the wood leaf without even knowing. Where's the betrothal gift? Hyuga Hayashi was very direct this time. You didn't give any betrothal gifts, and you didn't even go through me as an elder before you settled the matter. Do you still have me as an elder in your eyes? Naruto blinked and asked in confusion, Didn't Hinata tell you to? Wait a moment. I'll go get Hinata. Naruto went to call Hinata. Hinata's mother pulled her husband's hand to remind him. After all, from a mother's point of view, it was fine as long as Hinata liked it. In addition, Naruto wasn't bad either. Hayashi nodded slightly. They didn't say anything, but the tacit understanding between husband and wife had already told each other. What he meant was, don't worry, I'll handle it well. Soon, Hinata was pulled in. The surrounding scenery changed, forming an independent chat room. Father, mother. Hinata saluted to the two of them. Hyuga Hayashi nodded slowly and said to Hinata, I'll deal with you later. You stay aside for now. Then he said to Naruto, Why did you call Hinata here? Using Hinata as a shield? Naruto quickly explained, No, father-in-law, don't misunderstand, Before Naruto finished speaking, Hayashi interrupted directly, Don't call me father-in-law. I haven't agreed yet. Naruto quickly changed his words, Then I'll call you old Taishon. Hayashi was puzzled, What do you mean? Naruto explained, Taishon in the Snow Country refers to a very respected person. Hayashi nodded suspiciously and waved his hand, Don't talk about these useless things, let's talk about business. Old Taishon is a very respected person? There's nothing wrong with saying that. But the more accurate meaning is actually still father-in-law. Funny, Naruto replied, Okay, old Taishon, this is the case. I prepared the betrothal gift for Hinata, and I also asked Hinata to tell you. Hinata told me that you agreed, so I called Hinata. I hope there's no misunderstanding. Hayashi couldn't help but swear, Bullshit. When we woke up, we didn't see any of you two little things. Who told us about the betrothal gift? The betrothal gift is actually a small matter, this is a matter of attitude. Hinata quickly stood up, Father, you agreed, I went to see you a few days ago. Mother was also there. Didn't you and Mother both say that everything should be simple? Hayashi wanted to continue to argue, but Hinata's mother really remembered that matter. She hurriedly pulled Hayashi back. Hinata's mother asked, Hinata, you wouldn't say that when we were sleeping, right? That wasn't a dream? Did you really come? Hinata pulled up the video record. She explained, It's not wrong to say it's a dream, more accurately, it's a virtual reality world. Just like where we are now. This is a temporary virtual reality space, it's fake, but it's also real. Then, the previous experience in the sleep wasn't a dream? Hyuga Hayashi remembered. Hinata did talk to them about the marriage. This is awkward. Naruto saw that the two understood. He took Hinata's hand and promised, I promise you here that after Hinata marries me, I will spoil her in every way and won't let her suffer a little. You can rest assured that I will take care of Hinata. Hyuga Hayashi was still very upset. His daughter ran away from home without a word, and she had been gone for 3 years. After 3 years, he finally saw his daughter, and his daughter was going to get married. What kind of mood is this? What AF *King mood? I don't agree with your matter. That's it, how can I withdraw from this thing? As soon as Hayashi said this, Hinata's mother's eyes widened. Didn't you say that you can control the scale? Why did you suddenly flip the table? Did I misunderstand just now? Is the tacit understanding between us husband and wife gone? Hayashi chose to hang up the phone. Hinata's mother quickly explained, Don't worry, he probably can't accept it for a while, I will talk to him again. Naruto quickly thanked. Thank you, mother-in-law. Hinata's mother smiled and promised, Hey, I accept you as my eldest son, you must treat Hinata well in the future. Naruto quickly promised again, Hinata married me, the world is hers, I will treat her well. Hinata's mother nodded with relief. I will go and see what the old man is up to. Also, come and meet us in person as soon as possible. Although this thing is convenient, it is not intimate enough. Hinata's mother hung up the video call. Hayashi was about to ask. Hayashi's face darkened. I want to be alone, it's irritating. Hinata's mother didn't say much, just said, this daughter will marry sooner or later, Naruto is a good child. Hyuga Hayashi replied, let me figure out the matter of Konoha first. Hayashi's thought came up. The system pulled up the information. It was very detailed information. There was information about the wood leaf's time and the wood leaf's destruction. After reading the information, Hayashi found Naruto. Tell me, why wasn't our clan present when Kumogakure invaded the wood leaf? Chapter 635. Why wasn't the Hyuga clan present when wood leaf was breached? This question is really not easy to answer. Because, looking at the serious face of his future father-in-law, Naruto hesitated for a moment. Originally, he prepared a lot of excuses that could be used to fool him. But now, is it not good to fool his future father-in-law? What if he doesn't respect him? Do you want to hear the truth, or a lie? Hyuga Hayashi's facial muscles twitched, and his expression became more stiff and serious. Of course, the truth. Naruto replied, because you are Hinata's father, and I don't want Hinata to be fatherless at such a young age. It was a very simple and direct answer, even a little choking. After Hayashi heard it, he was so angry that the veins on his face jumped. He questioned, you mean, even if the Hyuga clan was present, they couldn't change the battle, and would only increase the casualties? Naruto nodded and answered the question. The atmosphere was deadlocked at this moment. After a long time, Hayashi continued to ask, then, what role did you play in that battle? Naruto didn't hesitate and replied, a bystander. Hayashi continued to ask, wood leaf was breached. You were born in wood leaf, and you just watched it be destroyed? Naruto replied, why not? Wood leaf, for me, has never been a place where I feel a sense of belonging. I'm just a human pillar force that's being used. The kind that's being used until death. Can you imagine the feeling of having a wood leaf subsidy in your pocket, but when you go to a restaurant to eat, no one is willing to sell to you? Can you feel that no matter where you go, people are pointing at you and saying that you shouldn't play with him because he's the child of the demon fox? Hayashi was silent. Naruto continued, I know, this has something to do with the death of Sandame's wife. Sandame's wife died when she delivered me. So he should still have resentment towards me in the deepest part of his heart. This resentment caused him to intentionally avoid me and not pay attention to me, in order to suppress the urge to destroy me hidden in the deepest part of his heart. Hyuga Hayashi interrupted, Sandame Naruto, Sama is not such a person. Naruto smiled and waved his hand. Everyone has the dark side of human nature. The only ones who can suppress it are those who are kind. I can't deny that I'm already grateful that Naruto 3 didn't remove the 9 tails from my body and replace it with a human pillar force. But I also have a reason not to attack, don't I? Hyuga Hayashi frowned. Naruto, you should know that you are the descendant of a ninja, and you are the son of the 4th daimyo Naruto, Sama. Naruto knew what Hayashi wanted to say. He shook his head. Ninja, in my opinion, is the stupidest profession. Ninjas are just pawns that can be sacrificed at any time. As for honor, it's even more nonsense. Isn't the honor that the 4th Naruto sacrificed for the village great enough? But what did he get in return? It's just a slightly better graveyard. I don't agree with such a profession, I don't agree with such honor, and I don't agree with such a social system. Well, I've said too much, sorry. Hyuga Hayashi looked at Naruto for a long time without speaking. He said, "The stronger a person's personal strength is, the greater the ambition in his heart will grow, and it will bring greater disasters to the world. You destroyed the order built by the first Naruto-sama. And then? Let ninjas with power do whatever they want. That way the world will only fall into greater chaos." Naruto smiled. He replied, "You haven't had a good time in the snow country yet, right? My wedding with Hinata is still early. During this time, father-in-law can have a good time in the snow country. In the snow country, chakra is not the yardstick to judge a person's social status. What judges a person's social status is their contribution to society. This system has existed in the snow country for 3 years, and it's very successful. I also intend to implement this system all over the world." Hyuga Hayashi's frown deepened. Naruto's words surprised him a little. Originally, he thought that the social system established by Naruto was based on people with chakra as the main body, and ordinary people were enslaved. But even if that wasn't the case, Naruto's idea made him feel ridiculous. Your system won't last long. In the fact that ordinary people don't have power, putting people with chakra together with them, equality can't exist. You're just relying on your personal strength. Naruto, it's good for a person to have confidence in their own strength, but blind confidence will only make you stupid. Naruto. To some extent, Naruto agreed with the words of his future father-in-law. So he gave ordinary people the strength to protect themselves. For example, the identity card's defense system, alarm system, and perfect legal system. There are also simple civilian armor that ordinary people can use. Hyuga Hayashi continued, "However, you're still young, and it's understandable to make this kind of mistake." Seeing Naruto's indifferent face, Hyuga Hayashi continued, "If you don't admit your mistake, let me see if you have this kind of tolerance." "See if he has this kind of tolerance?" Naruto asked. "How?" Hyuga Hayashi replied very domineeringly, "Defeat me with your own strength." Naruto was stunned. "Not because it's too difficult, but it's too easy, okay? As the human pillar force of the Jubi, his strength is already comparable to Hagoromo Sennin. Fight with Hyuga Hayashi? Wouldn't that be too much?" Naruto didn't know if he should agree or not. If Hinata found out about this, he would beat up her father. Even if Hinata had a good temper, she would be unhappy, right? If she didn't let him sleep with her because of this, it would be a big loss. It has to be said that Naruto, who was quick-witted, thought long-term. Naruto didn't answer, and Hyuga Hayashi suddenly thought of something. He asked, "By the way, what method did you use to take the Hyuga clan out of Woodleaf?" Naruto replied honestly, "I drugged you, and then took you out when Woodleaf wasn't paying attention." Drugged? Hyuga Hayashi's expression froze. The entire Hyuga clan was drugged and taken away. This is the biggest shame since the existence of the Hyuga clan. But if the truth is like this, Hyuga Hayashi's heart was relieved. This shows that Naruto's own strength may not be very strong. He still has a chance to educate his future son-in-law. Hyuga Hayashi took a deep breath. "I won't mention the past. It's my fault that the Hyuga clan was drugged. I was not careful enough as the patriarch. If you want to marry Hinata, then I have no other requirements, just one, defeat me. Do you agree?" Naruto hesitated. "That. Father-in-law, can I make a condition?" Hyuga Hayashi said solemnly, "Don't call me father-in-law, if you want to marry Hinata, defeat me first." After teaching Naruto a lesson, he paused. "Say it, what are your conditions?" Naruto said with a guilty conscience, "That. Can this matter be known only to the two of us? I don't want Hinata to know about this." Hyuga Hayashi stared at Naruto for a while with an unhappy expression. This kid is too proud. He's afraid of making a fool of himself in front of Hinata. How can he be relieved when his daughter is with such a person? "Okay, I agree." Although he answered like this, Hyuga Hayashi was thinking that he must teach this kid a lesson when the time comes. Chapter 636. Hyuga Hayashi finally agreed to Naruto and Hinata's wedding. No one knows what happened in the middle except for the two parties. A battle started silently and ended silently. After that, Hyuga Hayashi went to the snow country to experience the local customs under Naruto's suggestion. By the way, Naruto revealed the location of Kakashi's new home. On the other side, after Naruto dealt with his future father-in-law, he began to search for Orochimaru's whereabouts. He wanted to find Uzumaki Kushina's ashes. However, Orochimaru was really difficult to find. After using all the conditions, he still had no clue. In this regard, Naruto didn't have any temper. "Girl, have you learned the space trap I taught you?" Mingu Empire, Royal Courtyard. Naruto asked Scale about her homework. Scale shot the kunai in her hand at Naruto. The kunai flew halfway and suddenly disappeared. It was successfully stored in a different space. Naruto raised his hand and grabbed, the space distorted, and the kunai appeared again. The space trap was removed. Naruto praised, "Very good, your talent is much better than that guy Obito. But you can't be complacent, you have to continue to practice. When you can move the location of the space trap according to your mind, you will truly master this trick." Scale nodded obediently. Not long after, Obito also came. The space vortex rotated, and Obito was teleported from other places. When Naruto saw Obito, he asked, "How is it? Is there any news about Orochimaru?" Obito shook his head helplessly. Naruto's face was not very good. "There are only 2 months left, and I will get married in 2 months," Obito suggested. "Why are you in such a hurry? Why don't you postpone the wedding date?" Naruto sighed. "I don't want to be in a hurry, but time waits for no man." Obito shrugged. He really didn't know what Naruto was anxious about. But seeing that Naruto didn't say anything, he didn't ask. After thinking for a while, he replied, "I'll go look for him later." After the underground trading house was integrated into the Empire system, the efficiency of doing things has increased again. As long as he's still alive, there's no way he can avoid everyone's attention. Was it impossible? Naruto was sure that at this time, Orochimaru was definitely not a corpse anymore. After changing bodies, how could it be easy to find her? Unless Orochimaru took the initiative to jump out. Let him jump out by himself? Naruto's eyes lit up and said to Obito, "Send out a notice, as long as he is willing to return the ashes, I can let bygones be bygones." Obito froze for a moment, then nodded. He quickly passed down the order. After that, the two of them watched Lin Fan cultivate. "Kakashi is getting married. Have you prepared a gift?" Naruto asked. Obito said smugly, "Gift? If I go to his wedding, wouldn't that be giving him the greatest face?" Naruto said with annoyance, "If you have so much face, then if I go, won't Kakashi have to give me change?" Obito smirked. "You can try." Naruto rolled his eyes. "Try? Try my ass." Naruto was sure that if he really did so, then the relationship that had just eased a little will definitely collapse again. "Naruto, when are you going to resurrect Yondaime-sama Naruto?" Yondaime-sama Naruto was Obito's teacher. After his memory was rewritten, Obito dreamed of his teacher more than once. Naruto replied, "Wait until I find Orochimaru. If I can't find Orochimaru, I can't resurrect my mother, and Yondaime-sama Naruto won't be resurrected." Obito's eyes widened when he heard this. He stared at Naruto as if he was looking at an unworthy descendant. Naruto glanced at Obito and said unhappily, "Why are you looking at me like that?" "I'm doing this for his own good. Is there anything sadder than the death of your beloved, but you're still alive?" Obito thought about it thoughtfully and felt that it was reasonable, so he nodded again. "Then it looks like, if I want to see Sensei, I have to find Sensei first." Naruto nodded helplessly. At this time, Naruto suddenly remembered that there was still one place that he hadn't looked. That was the Ryuchi Cave. "Do you think Orochimaru will always be in the Ryuchi Cave?" Obito thought about it and replied, "It's possible, but no one in this world knows the specific location of the three Holy Lands. Those who were invited to the three Holy Lands were summoned by reverse summoning. If you want to go, you can ask Tsunade or Jiraiya. Naruto thought about it and called Tsunade. What's the matter? Tsunade's voice was full of laziness. Naruto told Tsunade his thoughts. Tsunade shook her head. I can communicate with Katsuyu Sennin to let you go to Shikatsu Forest, but Ryuchi Cave. I can't. But Katsuyu Sennin definitely knows where the Ryuchi Cave is. You can ask her when the time comes. I just don't know if she'll be willing to tell you. By the way, I have an idea to make Katsuyu Sennin friendlier to you. Do you want to know? Naruto asked foolishly. What? Tsunade immediately replied, if you learn the In seal and condense a purple mark on your forehead, Katsuyu Sennin will know that you're my disciple. Let me tell you, my relationship with Katsuyu is pretty good. Naruto rolled his eyes after hearing this. She really didn't forget to urge him to cultivate no matter what the situation was. For her to mention it at this time, he was convinced. Tsunade continued, Sakura has already surpassed you and condensed the In seal. As her Sennin, you're too embarrassing. Naruto looked at her disdainfully. So what if she condenses it? She condenses the In seal. Even if she can use the Hyaku Jutsu, I can beat 10 of her by myself. Tsunade was angry when she heard this. She said in exasperation, Are you saying that you don't like my ninjutsu? Naruto hurriedly admitted defeat. After coaxing her for a long time and promising to continue cultivating the In seal, she finally let the matter go. As for looking for Katsuyu Sennin, Tsunade rejected him because she hadn't learned the In seal yet. This made Naruto so angry that he almost slapped himself in the face. He blamed himself for talking back to this great aunt for nothing. Women were born to be petty, even if this woman was his Sennin. There were even some who were even more extreme. After hanging up the call with Tsunade, the only person he could find now was Jiraiya. But Naruto didn't want to go to Mount Mayaboku, and he didn't want to see the Great Toad Sennin. Because the Great Toad Sennin had a deep relationship with the Rikudo Sennin. Naruto didn't notice that just as he and Obito were talking about Orochimaru, the expression in Scale's eyes flickered. The pupils in his eyes narrowed a little, as if they were squeezed together into a slit. I'm leaving, you guys continue to cultivate. Naruto patted his butt and stood up from the stone platform. After taking a few steps, he turned back and said, By the way, today is the 15th of August. The moon will be full tonight. You can take Scale with you to admire the moon. After saying that, Naruto left. Tonight, he was going to admire the moon with Hinata. Chapter 637. At night, Mingdu Empire, on the stargazing tower, Naruto held Hinata and admired the moon. The moon is so beautiful. I have never seen the moon like this before. Hinata was very happy. The blue moon was so graceful and luxurious against the starry sky. Naruto put his chin on Hinata's shoulder, his face close to Hinata's face, and said softly, Do you like it? If you like it, Tion will accompany you to watch the moon in the future, okay? Tion will accompany her to watch the moon? Hinata's heart was charmed. This is not good. Mingdu Empire has just been established, there are still a lot of things to be done, right? Naruto replied indifferently, It's all a small matter, I can deal with it with my clone. Besides, isn't there still Tobirama to do odd jobs for me? That guy used to be Naruto, and he is quite good at many things. Hinata said with a little guilty conscience, This is not good, right? Won't Tobirama-sensei work too hard? Naruto replied with a guilty conscience, It can't be. His Edo Tensei body should be fine even if he doesn't rest. Hinata asked even more guiltily, Really? Naruto thought for a while and replied, Yakushi-do is doing research 24 hours a day, and he is still very lively, so it shouldn't be wrong. Hearing this, Hinata nodded with relief. Then, Naruto-kun, after Tobirama-sensei attends our wedding, will he leave this world? Hinata's face suddenly became sad. Naruto thought of Tobirama's resignation. After the establishment of the Mingdu Empire, Tobirama proposed to refuse the Edo Tensei reincarnation again and leave the world. However, Naruto rejected it on the grounds that he was going to get married. Well, that guy doesn't want to be reincarnated again. Hinata's face was full of worry. Although I also think that Edo Tensei is not a good method, I still feel sad when I think that Tobirama-sensei is leaving. Naruto gently stroked Hinata's head. Then, Naruto-kun, will we also leave this world one day? Naruto thought about it and replied, perhaps there will be such a day, but for us, that day will be much longer than for others. I have enough time to show you the sights of this world. Hinata raised her head and looked at Naruto. Their eyes met, and she could feel the calmness in Naruto's eyes. The fear of death in Hinata's heart gradually subsided. He smiled and said, Naruto-kun, I feel that your eyes were even more beautiful in the past. Naruto stared blankly for a moment before breaking into laughter. Really? Hinata nodded cutely. Naruto scratched Hinata's nose. Then when we get married, I will change my eyes back. But there is one thing. A man should be praised as handsome, and a woman is beautiful. Hinata stuck out her tongue mischievously and said with a smile, but it's really beautiful. Naruto-kun is more beautiful than me in every way. His hair is prettier than mine, his nose is prettier than mine. Naruto was angry. He already said that beautiful is used to describe girls, but this girl didn't restrain herself and instead became even more serious. This is a blatant provocation. Naruto raised his hand that was hugging Hinata's waist, the itching skill was maxed out, and he entered the crazy itching mode. For a moment, there was a string of bell-like laughter on the stargazing tower. There was also Naruto's strange laughter. After a long while, under Hinata's repeated begging for mercy, this childish battle finally ended. Naruto summoned a rattan chair from the system storage space, lying down with Hinata in his arms and admiring the moon. Hinata lay on Naruto's chest like a little bird. She drew circles on Naruto's chest. It was quite itchy, but there was a soft and numb feeling where Hinata's fingers were removed. It was also very comfortable. Then, Naruto-kun, I have an idea. Hinata continued to draw circles. Naruto was combing Hinata's hair. If others saw them like this, they would definitely think of the aftermath. But in fact, they were really pure. Nothing had happened just now. Naruto replied lazily, What are you thinking of now? Hinata's fingers stopped drawing circles. She looked up at Naruto and said seriously, It's not a trick, it's a very serious matter. Hearing that it was a very serious matter, Naruto perked up and said seriously, Oh? What is it? Hinata also looked serious. It's about our wedding. Hearing about the wedding, Naruto became even more serious. Naruto also attached great importance to the wedding. Say it, I'm listening. Hinata said seriously, Naruto-kun, can we wear your clothes on the wedding day? Naruto didn't understand what he was talking about. But when he saw the smile on Hinata's face, he instantly understood. You want me to wear your clothes? Naruto's little face was dark. Hinata held back her laughter and said seriously, Because I think Naruto-kun is prettier than me. If you wear the wedding dress, you will definitely be prettier than me. This girl. He had to train her well. You want me, the monarch, to wear a wedding dress in front of everyone? If I wear it, believe it or not, there will be a bunch of people impeaching me the next day. All kinds of muddle-headed and frivolous hats will be put on my head. Hinata was scared when she heard that and instantly cowered. Is it that serious? I'm just... Hinata was about to admit her mistake, but she saw Naruto's smile. Naruto wasn't lecturing her, he was teasing her. Hinata swallowed all the words she wanted to say. She said proudly, I don't care, I'll let you wear the wedding dress. Naruto's hand grabbed Hinata's armpit and used his tickling ability. Hinata's counterattack was fruitless, and she begged for mercy again amidst her laughter. Their laughter spread far and wide. Although the Mingdu Empire was huge, there weren't many people living in it. Therefore, it was still very spacious. Scale leaned on the bed with the window slightly open. The night wind blew into the room and lifted the curtains. At the same time, the sound from the balcony could be heard. How leisurely! Under the moonlight, Scale's face didn't have the usual innocent cuteness. There was a hint of mature indifference and coldness. On Scale's system interface, an announcement with Orochimaru's name was displayed. Announcement: return Uzumaki Kushina's ashes and let bygones be bygones. Otherwise, kill without mercy. This was an announcement made at Naruto's request. The announcement wasn't only in the system. It was posted on the bulletin board of every district and every town in the Mingdu Empire. Then, should he return the ashes? Naruto and Obito's words during the day were still in his ears. Orochimaru could feel that Naruto seemed to be anxious to get the ashes. After thinking for a long time, Scale muttered to himself in a cold voice, "I'm not afraid of that guy, I'm just thanking him for his guidance on space ninjutsu." Scale made a hand seal, and a white snake appeared in front of Orochimaru. Orochimaru raised his hand and pressed it on the snake's head, seemingly transmitting some information. Then the summoning technique was lifted. After doing this, Scale took a deep breath. He sighed, "How strong is that guy now? The Jubi. Does such a thing really exist?" You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.